But if we could all say hi to Diane, that would be really awesome.
Oh, it's Diane.
Hi,
Oh,
Miss Diane.
hey, Diane. How are you, superstar? Hi,
Hello,
Diane.
I'm doing well. How's everybody
Hi,
doing?
Diane.
Doing
Hello.
great.
Hello, hello, hello,
Really
everybody.
good.
It's my honor to be with you guys. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
So we'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll start. If you guys could grab, if you're not driving, if you can grab a paper or a notebook, or you can do it in your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's a notepad. Every phone should have a notepad. I'd like to usually start an exercise that I've done over the years, and this is basically how I do it. And again, I'm a nobody, right? If you would have told me today that I'm going to achieve everything that I've achieved, I would not believe you. So there's a lot of things, little things that I've done over the years that really, really made an impact. And there's so many people coming in. I'm like, admit all. All right.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier. Absolutely. So I'm trying to like really jump back as much as I can in this 4-hour boot camp. And again, I was telling Tony, 4 hours is not enough, but I'll do my best to share with you anything and everything that I know in the insurance industry. And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I probably own about 15 businesses over my 43 years of my life. And I'd like to share everything that I know to all of you. And my wish today is to, if I could just make a difference, if you could just take one or two or three things that you can apply in your life, then I'll be very, very happy.
Hey, Diane.
Sir, yes, sir.
Hey. Just trying to connect your all's internet here. I'm actually at Diane's. Oh, what a beautiful office. You guys got a gym. You got a lounge. I mean, I think I found a new home. I mean, how can you not be productive? I see your secret sauce. It's the environment you have. This is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. This is amazing.
Show them. Show them, brother.
Here's the lounge. I'm in the Lifetime Lounge. And then over there, they got a Lifetime Cafe. And are you able to see that, guys? And then there's a gym.
Really awesome.
They got a gym. Yes.
The best times I had was going to the coast in Oregon.
Yeah.
I basically plowed up and down the Washington and Oregon coast, used to land at Portland Airport and run the route straight across little town like Nehalem or even Tillamook.
Yeah.
Great town.
They got a spa. They got a spa here, John. A spa. They got a gym.
Tony, do you like seafood? Tony, do you like seafood?
I love seafood.
Great. Get your butt over to the coast and taste some of the smoked salmon from Tillamook. Go to the little shanties and shacks where they actually catch and smoke it.
Yeah, well, my favorite part is the gym part. I mean, this blows any Gold's Gym, which I'm a member of, away. I've never seen a gym like this. They got a swimming pool in this sucker.
Hot and
I mean,
cold,
it's a state of the art.
Sauna. Yeah.
I mean, they got it all. So,
spa.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to say how blessed and honored that we have a partner like Diane on our team. Incredible people, incredible environment here. I mean, success just exudes out of this place. And if you guys just latch on and absorb at least 10% of what she shares with you guys today, you're going to be a very rich man and woman in your community. This stuff works. She does it on a whole nother level I've never seen. So I don't want to steal any more of your thunder. Diane, I know you got a great presentation. Very thankful to be here with you and Tassan, your team. What a most empowering experience. One of the highlights already in my year, being here at your office. So thank you, Diane. I know
you want to
knock
share
it
them
out.
what happened this morning? Do you want to share them what happened this morning?
You can share it. Go ahead.
No, you share it. You were there.
What, wait, what's Tassan?
Yeah. Share them what we've been working on.
She's been working on some amazing new AI technology that's going to transform this industry. And I'm honored to be a part of it. So it's pretty cool stuff. That's another call because I know we got some very, very uh, inquisitive people on this call, Diane. We'll be here 3 hours just talking about that. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but it was a great meeting. Love Tabor, love the concept, just love everything about this community, this office, these people. It's just, I see why you're where you are, Diane. It's amazing when you go to someone's home base, you can see where they get their energy, their drive, their passion. I mean, it's just incredible. So exciting news, guys. And I'm looking forward to see how you guys can take what Diane's going to share with you guys today and implement it in your business and take it to the next level. So back to you, Miss Diane. Thanks for letting me share.
Bye.
And
Thank
thanks
you
for having
so
me at your
very much.
office. It's beautiful. Knock them out.
Thank you.
Chalk them up.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I'm not sure where you guys in life, but we're here today. I am honored to be in front of you today to share everything and anything that I know in the insurance industry and as a business owner. Again, as I've mentioned, I've owned probably about 15 businesses in my life. Happily married for 22 years, 3 boys, amazing boys, and just living the life that I've envisioned and I've ever wanted. To be honest, I could die today and I could tell you that I've done my very best in life. I've achieved everything that I ever wanted. I'm happy and content, but I'm not done. God willing, if He still gives me, a few more decades on me, I want to accomplish more. I want to help more people. I want to make more difference. I want to make more impact. So today, I'm going to load you guys up with a bunch of stuff. So if you don't have paper and pen handy, I like writing things down. There's something about writing things down. Please grab a piece of paper and pen. If you don't have any, grab your phone, go to your notepad on your phone. Because before I start with all the strategies, before we'll go over all the capabilities, tools, and all my secret sauce, I'd like to do a little bit of an exercise. And it's fascinating to me how many people that do not do this. It's just insane to me. I don't know how people will achieve any amount of success if you don't do this type of exercise at least every 6 months or at least every year to check on yourself and really sit down and take the time to really know where you're at in life, right? We're so busy going like 100 miles an hour. When was the last time that you really took the time to stop? Look at yourself. Look at everything around you. Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you proud of yourself? Or are you full of excuses? Sorry, I'm going to be pretty blatant here and honest, but please hear me out. My goal today is to take your business to the next level or take your life to the next level. And again, I'm humbled. Please, I'm humbled. I am not, again, I'm nobody here, right? I've achieved some stuff in life, but because of God's grace and God's blessings, but because of certain things, certain action plan that I did. So please, just for the next 3 to 4 hours, hear me out. I've also invited a few of my team members. They're like really, really good on a lot of things. And they're like the experts on phone booking, phone handling. They're Jeremy Minor way. I've shared that many times to your team. I have a guy that bought his sales course, which cost him like $15,000. He's the expert on this. He's one of my best friends in the world. He's going to train you guys on how to do that. I'm super excited about that. Because how many of you guys loves phone booking? You're probably like, God, I will do anything not to phone book, right? But it's one of those things that we must learn, whether you like it or not. Second thing is events, grassroots marketing. Okay. One of my best friends in life, again, she's been in the health system in the Portland Metro for over 30 years. Really, really good at creating events, building relationships. And then the third one, kiosk, how to run a successful kiosk. And then the last one, how to be a top agent. I'm going to have you, one of my top agents, speak and share a little bit how he does it year in, year out, right? We're going to talk about your why, your current status, your vision board, your mission, your core values. And then at the very end, we wanna create an action plan, right? And write things down and hold yourself accountable. So a year from now, I hope Tony and Michael will invite me back, and we're gonna share our stories on, what you've accomplished a year from now. So let's get started. Who's ready? Let's go. Oh, one of you will win a book of Jeremy Miner. He came out with a brand new book. I bought all my team the book like a year or 2 years ago when it first came out, and I made it required that each of my team will read it. Obviously, we do a lot of training on Jeremy Miner every week, every month, but the book in itself, if you read it, I think will change how you handle yourself, how to be persuasive in a way that people will feel that you really care about them. Because it's never about us, right? It's about the people that we serve. All right, I'd like to start with your current status. I want you, this is for you, okay? You're gonna write things down, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. Rip off that bandage. Where are you at in business and in life? Make sure you're honest to yourself. Write things down. Are you unhappy? Why? Why are you unhappy? Are you happy with your results? Or are you here today like, Dianne, man, I wish, and I thought for sure I would be way further ahead in life by now. Are you feeling lost? Like, Dianne, I was so excited about this business. I knew what I wanted. Now I have a hard time getting back to the game, getting back to it. I'm not sure what's happening. Are you depressed? That's like a big issue for young people and for everybody, if we're being honest, right? Okay, this is the worst one. Are you comfortable? What do I mean by that? For me, probably the hardest people for me to train, if I'm being honest, are the most comfortable people. People that are just comfortable with their life. Just going through the motion and just comfortable with what they have, and they have nothing more to give, or they're not motivated enough to do anything more in life. Or you're here today, Dianne, I'm ready for the next level. I'm sick and tired of my situation. I'm ready. Give me what I need to know. Give me what I have to do. And I'm ready. Okay. I hope you guys are writing things down. This is going to work, guys. Please bear with me. We're going to the meat. We're going to all the capabilities, action plan, all the strategies. Just bear with me, okay? Or are you full of excuses? I always tell my team this. When you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, you're not hurting me at all because I am fine. You're hurting yourself. If you're buying your own bullshit, you're hurting yourself, your future, and your family's future. I don't know. I have 3 boys. My 3 boys depend on me until they're 21, right? Every time that I make up an excuse, I lie to myself. Every time that I'll say, oh, I can't do that because whatever reason. Whose future is being affected? It's mine and my boys' future. Are you full of excuses? All right. I hope you wrote things down. Okay. Next one is, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you in this meeting right now? Why are you here? You could be doing so many other things. You could be watching Netflix. You could be going right business. It's the end of the month, literally, right? Literally end of the month. Why are you here? You could be writing business right now. There's no 48-hour rule right now, right? You can write a business without waiting 48 hours. But why are you here? Is it because for a purpose? You want to make a big difference in life? Is it because you want more influence? Is it because financial independence? Is it because you've been wanting that dream house? Is it because you've been wanting that Tesla? You've been wanting that Lamborghini? Is it because you're just trying to figure out the meaning of life? Why am I here, God? Why am I here? What is my purpose? So this is one of my favorite exercise. So let's fast forward a year from today. You've had the best year of your life. How does it look like? You bought the Lamborghini. I like the green, actually. Although I don't like loud cars, so that might be an issue. I'm so used to my Model X. I might not be able to buy that. That's too loud. How about travel, right? How many of you love to travel? I love to travel. I love food. I love coffee. I just love going to different places. Or are you like me? You're just like, you just want to invest into so many things, right? I've invested to 3 businesses right now. A couple of them are AI, Insurance Copilot and Tabor. Do you just want to make your money grow so that way you can be a part of cool, awesome, amazing businesses that can really make an impact in the insurance industry or whatever industry you want to help, retail, or it could be online, or it could be whatever. Or maybe you have some friends that have great ideas and they just need some money, right? Or do you just want to buy that Rolex? You want to buy that nice house? You want to buy that boat? Write things down. A year from now today, you've had the best year of your life. You're a perfect fit. You work out 2 to 3 times a week. You do cold plunge. Anybody do cold plunge? I did my best last Sunday. I did it for 7 minutes and 56 seconds, cold plunge. If you guys don't do this exercise, I like to do this with my team. Do hard things. Like every week, if you could just do one thing that is extremely hard, uncomfortable, if you could do it once a week, I really think you can conquer the world. You can make shit happen. You can definitely do it. Now, pick one. I want you to just pick one. Out of the things that you want in life, I want you to pick one. The most important one for you. Most important one. This one is a dream board. I shared it with you guys before. This is Tenzin's dream board. Basically the things that she's ever wanted and then her goals. But I want you to pick one. Pick one because we need a driving force. Insurance is very, very hard, guys. And thank God, I know I'm crazy by saying this. Thank God it's extremely hard. It's extremely regulated. And oh my God, come on, CMS, make up your mind, be clear with your regulation, right? Insurance is extremely hard. It's super important to know why you're doing this. What is going to drive you? What is your purpose? To get you out of bed when things are just going haywire, when you have a headache, when you're not feeling well, and you still want to go to work and show up every day. What is that driving force? One good example is this. Why is it important to you to be successful? So can you write it down? Why is it important to you to be successful? So I gave you a guide here. Hear me out on here. You want to make sure that you have at least 7 reasons why you want to be successful. So for me, this is mine. I put this like years and years ago. I want to be successful because I want to have a big house someday. Not really a big house, but a house for everybody. Paid off home, right? Done, right? Why is it important for me to own a big house, right? So that way my parents, my sibling can live with me, which that happened, done, right? Why is it important that my parents live with me? Because, I don't want my parents to be stressed with money again. I don't want them to be responsible with paying the bill, right? Done. Why is it important that my parents are not stressed about money again? Because I want to show them how much I love them. Now, Why is it important for me to show my parents how much I love them? Because I want them to know how well-rounded I have become. Why is it important that I became well-rounded? So that they know that I have made something out of my life. I did not squander the life, the opportunities, the people, and the beautiful opportunity of insurance, that I did not squander it. I made the most out of it. Why is it important to show them what I have become? I don't want my parents to ever be disappointed in me like they were when I was growing up. So for a lot of you, your biggest motivation is there are people in your life that look at you and you were a disappointment to them, either from your parents, from your friends, maybe your spouse. They're looking at you and you're like, oh my gosh, you're too comfortable. Make something out of your life, right? So 7 reasons, pick one. I could also talk about financial freedom. Why would I want to be financially independent? Right? I want to be financially independent because I want to be able to do whatever I want anytime I want. I don't want people pinning me down, telling me when to clock out, when to clock in, right? I don't want people dictating what I should be doing with my time. I want to be able to help. I have 20 organizations that I give to every single month. 25% of my income goes to all these different organizations. Are we able to give if you're not financially independent or you don't have enough money to take care of yourself and your family, right? So I hope you guys are doing this. There's some notes on the chat. I'm going to take time. So please write things down. I think we're okay. And I'll give you guys a copy of these. Don't worry, but please take the time. I want to make sure we have plenty of time here. Write things down. Why do I want to be financially independent? Because I want to be able to buy the car that I want, which Tesla. I've owned 3 Tesla cars now. I'm waiting for my Cybertruck. I know, I love cars, but just Tesla, just electric. I've always owned BMWs, Lexus, and things like that. But Tesla, you don't need to do any maintenance. You just plug in like a cell phone, you go. I've never had any issues. I've owned Tesla for the last 8 years. I just got a Model X, brand new, full self-driving. I want to be able to buy whatever I want. I want to order something. I don't need to look at the menu, right? I want to be financially independent because I want to be able to give when, my sibling from the Philippines asks me for, hey, my cell phone can't out. Can you send me your old phone or can you buy me a new one? Sure, no problem. I'll FedEx it to you. I want to be able to make a difference in this world. With all the money I have, my goal in life is to get to 50%. I'm giving away all the money I make in all my businesses. I want to be able to use money for good. Money is good, guys. Money is good. If someone has ever told you that money is bad, it's not. It's how you use it. We are meant to be a river and a channel of God's blessings to share and to help. And again, I just want to speak real quick. If you're comfortable, I know a lot of you are like, Diane, I've got it. I've got good renewals. I don't need to work hard anymore. I've got it. Good for you. But remember how long it took you to be where you're at, to be how good you are now? How about share that? Share your skill set. How about mentor the young generation? How to make a difference in their community, being an insurance agent. How to teach people how to be financially independent like you did. I think we are meant to be blessed, to be a blessing to others. If we're just keeping it in ourselves, I think that we're not going to reach that much happiness. True fulfillment is giving away our life, giving away our time and our money. Like Tony is such a good example of this. I don't know how he does it. He just travels like 2 or 3 times a week, goes everywhere and just talks to so many people and into so many businesses. It's just insane. But that is a life fully lived, right? We don't know how long we're going to be in this earth, but have we made the most out of time? So You got to have a clear sense of purpose, letting it guide your actions and decisions. Very important why you want to be successful in insurance. Please write it down. Okay, I'm not sure why that happened, but life of significance, these are, if you guys are interested on the organizations, it would be so amazing if you guys can take a look at this, screenshot it if you have to. If you could just give to a lot of these organizations. A lot of them are for homeless folks, help homeless people, sex trafficking, kids being trafficked. You guys know there's such a huge problem in this country and in the entire world. How many young kids are being trafficked and just molested and just being raped every day. I want to be able to use my funds to save those kids. My goodness gracious, right? What are we doing with the money that we have? It's good to have the nice house, the nice car and everything, but we got to also help out those in need. So a lot of them are some are churches, Make-A-Wish. My husband has been a volunteer of Make-A-Wish. I'm actually gonna join him this year for the last 10 years. Make-A-Wish, you guys know, sick kids that are just, have wishes before they die. That's very important to my husband and I. Practicing the way, you guys know, I believe in Jesus. He's the way, the truth, and the life. That's a good organization. They show us how to be like Jesus, to act like Jesus, right? Portland Rescue Mission, homeless shelter here, funding, helping a lot of the homeless folks in Portland. All right, this is our mission at Help Hands in Oregon. If you don't have a mission as an agency, I would take the time to really sit down. If you are a GA, MGA, FMO, what have you, you want to have a mission. This is our mission, to be guides and advocates for people, making sure that they have meaningful access to healthcare, to focus on the most vulnerable and challenging population, to maximize our partnerships with providers, insurance companies, government agencies, organizations, to provide the best opportunity to thrive, for everyone to thrive. What is your mission? What is the thing that's going to drive you, right? Core values. Look up these core values. Is anyone in your team acting based on your core values, right? We're all accountable when we have core values. Are we people focused? Are we focusing on partnering up, making sure that our social mission is being carried out? Are we accountable to each other? Are we gonna call out when, one of our agents or each of us are acting not based on our core values? Are we embracing change? You guys know CMS changes every year, right? Your ability to adapt to change. Like, I've learned it now over the years. I used to get so upset when, bad things happen. I'm like, oh my God, why is this happening? Doing things right. I mean, anybody of you here? I'm like living my life, as perfect as I can, following all the rules. I tip 20% minimum. I tithe, I give my offering, and shit happens, right? What I found that I do when there's change, and I learned this from Janie with our legal at Integrity. She actually just came here in Portland and spent time with me and my agency. Just an honor to have her, an inspiring person. You have to observe. You have to observe what's going on. It's OODA. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. Observe. I forgot the letter, another O. Observe in something, and then really decide and act. Let it hurt if it hurts you, but then automatically, if you could just have an exercise, okay, that hurt. Okay, I'm choosing to let that go. I'm choosing to forgive that person. I'm choosing to let it go. Can I control what's going on? If you cannot control it, I'll probably pray about it. I'll pray about that person, whatever, right? And then let it go. Then move on. Really act immediately and move on. You cannot dwell on when bad things happen. Like this CMS ruling did not affect us one bit, because you know what? There is always opportunity when there's a change. And most people, guess what they do? They retreat, they quit, And much worse, they just stand in the sidelines and they're just like, they're just not doing anything until something happens again, right? Adapt to change. That's the biggest thing that you could do. Okay, capabilities. What are the things that you're doing or you've been doing to hone on your capabilities? Now, for most of us, we know exactly how to lose weight, right? Eat the right food, exercise 2 to 3 times a week, have a good sleep, have a good rest. I only need 5 hours of sleep. I know, 4 or 5 hours, I'm good. I'm used to it now that I'm able to function at a high level with 4 to 5 hours sleep. Some people need 8 hours. Make that your priority. But what are we doing to improve ourselves? Do we think getting an insurance, even though you're a veteran now, do we think that things will just come to us and we will just naturally be successful? That there's no work that needs to be done. Like until now, this is my 18th year in the insurance industry, right? 18th year. Now I wish I could tell you that it's all a straight line, right? Oh yeah, I just became successful like right straight. No, there were a lot of challenges along the way. You guys know when I first started, I could barely speak English. I mean, I can speak English, but very, very bad accent. English is my third language, right? So the biggest thing I had to learn was to get over the hump of being shy, being uncomfortable talking to people, being scared. I was very scared. I was crying every time I go knock on people's door. I kid you not. And when I'm phone booking, people are like, where are you calling me from? From India? Yeah, sure. I'm going to swim the Atlantic Ocean and I'm going to come and see you tomorrow. Are you home in the morning or afternoon normally? Afternoon, great. I'll be there between 1 to 4. Right? I have to really, really learn how to be good at, trying to remove, I still have accent, obviously, that's going to be embedded with me now for the rest of my life, but I'm way better than 18 years ago. I could tell you that. You can fully understand what I'm saying now. Before, it's very hard to understand what I'm saying, right? Communication is very, very important. If you could do one main thing, communication skills, very, very important. That's why I have Adam going to teach you guys how to phone book, how to really communicate effectively. Not a go gang ho, like, high pressure sales. We don't do those things. We don't do that. We do the opposite. Networking, your ability, you guys heard about the line, your net worth is based on your network, the people that you know. Who are the people around you that you hang out with, that you listen to every day or every week? Ask yourselves. I try to be around people that are way, way older than me in most cases, or way experienced than me, or way smarter than me, way better than me, nicer person than me, more patient than me, because I am just needing help on those areas. I am not patient. I'm like very impatient. What are you doing to develop and to really get into places that you're kind of like the smallest guy in the room or smallest woman in the room, and you're learning from everybody, right? So your ability to create relationships is key. Flexibility, adaptability. You have to learn to don't sweat the small stuff. Just ignore the things that doesn't even matter, right? The things that we worry about doesn't usually happen. The things that we worry about or we get upset about does not matter, doesn't really move the needle. So let it go. Being organized and really having a good time management. Time is money, time is life. If you guys don't have a good handle of your time, you're wasting your life. You're wasting opportunities. You're wasting your God-given talent and skills. And obviously, I always tell my agents this, every agent that wants to join my agency, do not ever give up. Because if you do not give up, you're going to be ultra successful. Most businesses in the United States quit, guess what? In the first 4 years, 95% does not make it on the 4th year. And we're telling to ourselves, oh, I'm not a millionaire. I'm only doing insurance in a year. Well, duh. It is possible to a millionaire being in insurance, but you gotta be ultra, ultra good to be a millionaire in 1 year. Give yourself time. How many years do you have to go to college to have a bachelor's degree, right? 4 years, right? Don't ever give up. Work ethic, I mean, that's self-explanatory and positive attitude. The way you see things, the way you interpret. For a lot of us, we grew up in a family wherein everything's negative. Oh, it's the government's fault. It's, the neighbor's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's the company's fault. If we act that way, we're going to live a life that is so negative and everyone's fault. There's no accountability. You are in control of your life. Hear me out. You are in control of your life. You can choose to be happy right now if you choose to. You have enough to be thankful for. So please make sure you have a positive outlook, positive attitude in your life, because you're in the United States of America. Believe it or not, you're effing blessed. If you don't believe that, I'm telling you, coming from a third world country, you are rich. And if you are not rich, it's your fault. It's nobody's fault. If you're an adult, it's not your parents' fault. It's not your spouse's fault. It's nobody's fault but you. But the good news is you have everything in you to make it happen, to get out of that. You have everything in you to be rich. And what I mean by rich, billionaire, yeah, you can be a billionaire. Why not, right? But for me, rich and fulfillment and being wealthy is wealthy with relationships, people around me, people that I love, that I admire, that really pushes me to be a better person. Being rich for me is to have the freedom, buy whatever I want, give whatever I want, right? So you're in the United States, hear me out, you're rich. If you're not, insurance could be the way. All right. Now, you've heard this. This is one of my favorite books. If you haven't gotten his book, please get it. You do not rise up to the level of your goals. So goals is good. It helps you get up in the morning. It drives you. But you will fail based on the level of your systems. How's your system is set up as an agent or an agency? How's your activity? It doesn't hurt anybody if you have a lot of activities. If anything, that's just going to help you write more business, right? What's the danger is a lot of people being self-employed is a blessing and a curse. Yes, you are in control, but guess what? The problem is we don't have the discipline sometimes to at least work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Most businesses, retail, whatever business it is, you are the CEO of your company. Why are you selling yourself short? You're only working 30 hours. Why aren't you working at least 40 hours like everybody else? But if you're the CEO of your company, guess what? You have to be working at least 50 to 60 hours a week until you get to the point of freedom, whatever that freedom is for you, right? We're going to talk about, again, we're just going to hone in at least 3 to 4 strategies that we're going to have really easy to understand and teach you guys capabilities, how to be good at phone booking, selling over the phone, again, events, social media. I can talk about that too if you guys are interested, but again, it's just all about being on social media almost every day if you can, and being a resource, and talk about insurance, how you could be helpful if you want. Are you using Ascend? Are you doing using all the technology that Integrity has for everybody? Medicare Center, Lead Center, and all that stuff, right? We have one platform now that we're using to create efficiency, to create all of us to save more time, right? And then postcards. I've shared with you guys this before. Are you sending postcards to your clients? Are you calling them the first 3 months and making sure that they got their insurance cards? If they have any questions, you're able to answer that. Are you checking with them, making sure nothing has changed? Are you helping them book the appointment with a dental office? So then later on, you can approach that dental office and say, hey, does anybody help your existing patients in case they need more dental? Who do you send them to? Or if someone's turning 65 at your dental office, anybody help them navigate Medicare? Are you making sure that they're going to get into a Medicare plan wherein they can still go to your dental office? Right? Are you booking an appointment with a vision clinic, right? Do you even remember why they got the plan, right? For me, my agents I require them the first 3 months, they have to send 3 postcards, different messaging. And the first 3 months, they have to have contacted their clients at least twice and making sure that they are set up properly with their pharmacy. Are we calling their pharmacy and making sure that's set up? They got the new insurance information. Are we setting up an appointment with their vision clinic or the new primary care clinic? And then later on, you are able to approach those clinics and providers and ask them questions. How can I be a resource to you? Who do you send your patients to when they have questions about insurance? Does anybody handle that for you? Guess what? I can help take care of that. We help dental offices increase their revenue from $40,000 to $400,000. You guys have dual plans in your area that have what? $30,000 to $5,000 on dental. I would just download all those dental offices, attack all of them. I'll go to each one of them and talk to each one of them and bring some flyers and say, hey, did you know that you're a provider with United Healthcare? It offers $3,000 dental. When someone is on Medicare and they come to you, what do they normally do to get their teeth fixed? Oh, we put them on Care Credit. Care Credit? You know that you have 0 premium plans that you can sign up these people with. What are we doing with the knowledge that we have? What are we doing, right? So dental offices, and we do this boot camp a lot of times, and we send all the new agents and go talk to dental offices. 95% of them typically do not have anyone that they work with on their patient's insurance. They don't know who's to send them to. Usually they'll send them to Medicare, and usually they'll sign them up with Care Credit, especially with dental offices. So with our agency, we attack all the providers: naturopathic, chiropractic, acupuncture, gym, you name it. All of my agents, that's part of their schedule. Half of a day every week, they have to go reach out to providers. But the best way to do this is if you have existing clients. If you have a book of business of 20 people, 100 people, 200 people, right? You don't have leads. Dianne, I don't have leads. My problem is leads. Okay, here's you don't need leads. Call all of your existing book of business and help them book an appointment with a dental office, with a vision clinic. Hey, Mr. Joe, when was the last time you've gotten your eyes checked? When was the last time you've gone to the dentist? I can help you book an appointment. Oh, hey, is your food card working? Is that store the grocery store, is it working well with them? Is there any issue? Oh, there's an issue in the grocery store? Don't worry, I'll go drop by. Go to the grocery store and introduce yourself. Talk to the manager. I do this all the time. Everything that I'm telling you guys, I've done it. There's nothing that I ask my agents that have not done, and they all work, right? They all work. So on the postcards or greeting cards, we use 2. I like using 2. Greeting cards, I really love because it is like a, twofold. It's a nice greeting card. And I usually use that for birthdays because it's really cool to, to have a birthday card. People love it. We get calls all the time, how thankful they are. The postcard is, Thanks IO is a lot cheaper. That one is more of a postcard, okay? So it's not a twofold. So usually it's just bare bone postcard. It doesn't have an envelope. Greeting cards do have an envelope. So I use both. Now, are you tracking your production? Do you even know how many apps have you written this year yet? Are you behind on your goal, right? Most people, they have what? They set their goals January, right? Beginning of the year, right? Are you tracking your production? Now, the question 2 is, are you full-time? Are you part-time? Are you sometime? Do you want to be full-time? Do you want to stay at part-time? Or do you want to stay at sometime, right? Define yourselves. Sometime for me is usually like writes 5 apps a month, sometime. That's a sometime agent. Part-time, usually 15 to 20. Full-time should be writing 25 to 60 apps a month, if you ask my opinion, as far as category, right? So you got to know your yearly goal. You got to know where you're at. It's what? It's about May tomorrow. Oh my gosh. I don't know what happened this year yet. It's like going by so fast. Okay. You got to know where you're at every day. So if you promise yourself, okay, this year, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to write 300 apps, 500 apps, whatever apps. And if you're behind, you should be accountable to yourself. Talk to your manager and say, hey, I'm way behind with my apps. Can you please help me? Right? Talk to somebody because they can help you and steer you to the right direction. But I think the solution is easy, right? Work harder, right? Do more. Increase retention. For me, it's so much cheaper, easier to take care of our existing clients than to acquire new clients. So Steve Jobs said that the marketplace is very noisy, you know, with all the call centers calling our seniors every freaking day. Like, what makes you different? What is it about you and your system that you're able to retain 95% of your clients? Because that is our average in our agency, 95%. Like if someone goes to any of our clients, the stack full of greeting cards that they usually show, the new agent that comes into the house, they're like, oh yeah, I have my agent. These are all the cards. And usually also it's on the refrigerator, it's on a frame, like it's on the wall. Like I've been to a few of my clients. I don't write business anymore, but some of my agents like Dianne, I saw your face on the wall at someone's house. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, your postcard. Nobody can switch those people because they know that they're agents, they care of them, right? We send a ton of greeting cards and postcards. That's one of the biggest thing that we do. It doesn't even cost you $25 a year. And you're getting paid $300 renewal. 300 minus 25 to 75, that's cheap, right? That's cheap. We send at least, so the first 3 months, so that's 3, right? And then spring, summer, we usually send 1. And then pre-AEP, and then AEP, and then holiday, and then Happy New Year. So 8. 8 greeting cards or postcards we're sending to our clients. That's just how we do it. This is the system that I implement in my agency. And you choose to follow it, great. You get 95% retention. If you don't follow it, you're just filling your bucket and it's, you know, it has so many holes. So make sure that your retention is locked in. Okay, these are the tools that we use. We don't use Callfire anymore because, you know, you're not allowed to do mass calling anymore, like dialer and such. Again, thanks IO. Ring Central, I love Ring Central. I used to use Nextiva, but Ring Central, it's very easy to connect to any CRM system like HubSpot. You can text message clients. These are the tools that we use, send out cards. And I'll send you guys a copy of these so you guys can use them. These are just samples of the postcards that we send out. I usually put a picture and of my face on every postcard as much as possible because I don't want them to forget me as their agent. So we usually send this different, or like in the last year, there was a lot of people losing OHP or Medicaid. I mean, all across the nation, losing Medicaid. So we send out notices, making sure that, you know, if their eligibility changes, let us know, right? So they know who to call when they get those letters. So these are just samples of the first 3 months of having a client effective. So these are the first 3 months that we send out. Okay, if you can master your time, you can master your life. There's a lot of different ways how to be good at your scheduling. For me, I put everything on my calendar, even private appointments, right? What I do is I usually start really early. I start at 7 o'clock in the morning and I get done at 6 o'clock. I need to be home at 6 o'clock because that's dinner time for me and my family. So everything is jam-packed. Everything, Monday to Friday, I have everything filled. If you have a ton of openings on your calendar, what is not scheduled, it's not going to happen. I love it when my agent's like, how's your activity this week? Like, oh, I'm busy. I'm running a lot of appointments. I'm like, show me your calendar. And they have nothing. They just made it up, right? Make sure your calendar is full and jam-packed with things. I like to start, I think statistically, scientifically, we have the most optimal brain function in the morning. So if I were you, I would start with the hardest task first. Eat the frog, they say, right? Swallow the frog first, and then because your energy tend to go down as the day goes by. So I try to start with the hardest things. Like if I have to talk to an agent and they're not doing well, I have to deliver like, hey, kind of like give him, the feedback that they need. And for me, it's hard for me to hurt people's feelings because I care so much about everyone to be successful. I want them to experience the life that I have. And sometimes I have to be a straight shooter and forgive me, I'm a little bit tough on you, but I care so much about everybody and anybody that just want to pour in their life in this industry, because this industry has given me so much for my life and my family and the dream life that I've ever wanted. So I start with the hardest. So I start with the hardest. There's a lot of different method here if you want to follow. One thing too, your brain functions, the optimal functionality of your brain takes about 20 to 30 minutes on any given task. So think about, okay, all right, it's phone booking time, right? How much time you should dedicate to phone book in a day? Let's say you decide to phone book every Mondays, right? I will at least allocate 2 to 4 hours. If you're a person like, oh, I'm just phone book, it takes you 20 to 30 minutes for your brain to be actually focused and to really, really function at a high level at a certain task. So if you're a person wherein you're always on your phone, right? You call one, you book one, and then you go to the refrigerator or you go talk to your coworker, and then you go back and phone book again. Don't do that, because then you have to restart your brain again to get used to the task. Sit your ass down, phone book for 2 to 4 hours straight. Do not get up until you're done. Does that make sense? So make sure when you're doing a task, make sure that you have at least 2 hours minimum, because it takes your brain 20 to 30 hours to be 100% focused. And make sure, you don't have any disruptions, or if you need to phone book, make sure you're in a quiet room. I'm in a quiet room right now, right? So nobody can bug me, because I need to be focused with you guys. I need to give everything I got for you guys. So hopefully you're learning some stuff. That's my desire, my prayer. I prayed about this meeting for the last how many days. So you guys know I've talked about this last time. Very interesting. Lobster. Oh man, who loves lobster? You guys know that they live a really painful life for us to eat them. That's not a good joke. Sorry. It's afternoon here, and yeah, I need more coffee. So lobster, for them to get to the next growth level, they have to break out of the shell. So this shell is like freaking hard. Like, talk about it, it's like a hard shell, right? You have to crack it to get to the meat. So for the lobster to grow physically, it has to break out of that shell. So any growth, any of these changes, any of this, whatever it is that you're wanting to change in your life, and the things that you must learn, the things that you need to improve on, let's be honest, it's going to be hard for a little bit, right? It's like building that muscle, right? The first few days, you go to the gym, oh man, that hurt. Everything hurts. Like, it's like cold plunge. I used to like get in there. I last like 3 seconds, and then I get to 10 seconds, right? And then I get to a minute and a half. And now I'm getting to 3 minutes. And then last Sunday, my best record yet, 7 minutes and 56 seconds. So lobster, we're like the lobster. Every time that we get to that next level of growth, it's gonna be super painful, but worth it, because you're going to grow physically, you're going to grow emotionally, your soul, your mind, and your being. You're gonna be a larger and better person. So don't forget that. When things are hard, keep pushing. Keep pushing. That muscle is getting built. Keep pushing and keep pushing. Wherein you get used to that growth, and you feel so much better. I'm not sure if you guys have done cold plunge. It's like this high, and it's so hard to explain. It's such a relief after you get out of the cold plunge. It hurts like hell the first 3 minutes being in the cold plunge. Your body feels like being tortured, I feel like best way to describe it usually when I'm in a cold plunge is feel like someone's like chopping off my legs. But when I get out of the cold plunge, oh my gosh, the rush of happiness, and it's just such a relief, and just I'm like such in a high, like so happy when I get out. And now I'm addicted to it. There's so many, healthy things about cold plunge, but if you haven't done it, I encourage you to do it once a week if you can, twice if you, even better if you could do 2 or 3 times. All right. Are you improving your skills? So we're giving away a Jeremy Minor book. Obviously, we're gonna draw later on and see who's gonna be the winner. I am a person that I read my Bible every day, I pray every day, I listen to podcasts every day. To this day, I still listen how to be good at selling, different ways how to be good at selling. I still feed my mind with inspiration, motivation. If you know yourself, and if you don't know yourself, I hope you have honest friends, honest managers, honest people that you do life with, wherein they can say, man, Dianne, you're so negative. Someone that is honest to you. You know, the best way to cure that, to change that, is to feed your mind, renew your mind. The Bible says, renew your mind with new information. Renew your mind and renew your attitude with positive people around you. If you're a negative person, you might want to hang out with positive people. You want to really listen to some positive stuff. A lot of like driving, how many people drive a lot when you get to your appointments? I use that to listen to really important podcasts. Again, I really focus on, again, fueling my soul. I do a lot of prayers all day long. I listen to praise music. I listen to sales. I listen to business. I listen to many, many things all day long. I attend live webinar, seminars, conferences. Tony Robbins is one of my favorite, hands down. I think he's the one, probably the most instrumental person. Back in the day, you guys remember those CDs? I bought this. It cost like $1,500. I didn't have money then, but I knew that I had to change. So I bought the entire CD case, like 10 CDs, and that's all I played every time I go run appointments, because I was so scared that people will be, racist to me, or people will not listen to me. So I listened to that every single day. Now nobody can move me. Nobody can scare me. I don't give a shit whatever other people will think of me. I do not care anymore. I'm not scared of anybody anymore. I can speak in front of a crowd. I don't care how big of the size. I am that solid because of the work that I do over the years with myself, and really just being intentional how I use my time. So if you're driving, if you guys are still the old-fashioned way, you like to run appointments, being in people's homes, I love that. Please use that time. Music is good. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but hey, might as well learn. Might as well feed your soul, your body, and your mind with good stuff, right? There's so many good podcasts out there. And I can recommend a few if you guys want that might be able to help you. Jeremy Miner is really good. He has a podcast. So if you're not listening to it yet, I would get into Jeremy Miner because he does have a lot of podcasts on sales. Have a mentor. Having a mentor is probably one of the most important things that you could have. If you have a manager, that could be your mentor. Or find someone that you just really love how they live their life. You're inspired by it. And I hope you're not listening to people that is not in the arena. You guys heard about Renee Brown, right? People that are negative people that are like small-minded. Oh, why are you getting into insurance? You cannot do that. You don't have the confidence to do that, or you're not good enough. I hope you're not listening to those people. Because I truly believe that insurance, if you're a good person, you mean well, you want to provide value. Anybody can do insurance. Anybody. If you put in the work, if you're willing to change yourself, anybody can be successful and can be multi-millionaire, renewal income in insurance. And I hope that you have a mentor. If you don't have one, let me know. I'll be happy to. If I have time, let me know. Tell me your story, and I could be a mentor. I'll be happy to help you in any capacity. So please find a mentor if you don't have one. My mentor has always been Tony Robbins until to this day. I just listen to all his content because I just love him. I love how he stands for. I love the significance, the impact, and the millions of people that he's changing every year. He's fed like billions of people now with his initiative of feeding, hungry people, even in the United States, actually. So we just went to this one last week with my team, and man, it was loaded. I'm not sure if you guys know David Goggins. He was the last speaker. He literally have like, he's very intense. I think he was in the army. Like he had two of his knees like replaced. So he just had a surgery 10 days ago. And then one of the hosts was like, hey, can you do a push-up? I was like, a push-up? I just have, my surgeon's like, F with that. And he literally went down and did a 50 push-up. And he just had a surgery. And it's like, your mind is a lot stronger than you think. You tell your mind that you're capable. Nothing is impossible. You just get it done. Get it done. Stay hard is his line. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. If you don't, a lot of my young agents, they love David Goggins. They're just inspired and really motivated by what he stands for. So I really like Ed Milet also. It's very inspirational. It's like, I think he used to be a WFG, but now he's more of a motivational speaker like Tony Robbins. A lot of good people on this event, and I really enjoyed it. To this day, I still love it. I still love it. So my secret sauce, again, I think that my faith in Jesus is number one thing in my life. In our agency, we pray at 8 o'clock in the morning, meditation prayer. There's nothing like starting your day the right way. Obviously, it's voluntary. Not everybody joins in, but there's quite a bit of people that shows up every day. And I believe so much that everything that I have, I do my best and God will do the rest. I know that he'll take care of me if I do my best and really doing the right things and making a difference to every person that I meet or anyone that I come across with. Network is your net worth. As I mentioned, you guys know what that means already. Really trying your hardest how you can be in close proximity of people that you admire. If you see people that have the success that you want for yourself, then you really want to reach out to those folks. And to be honest with you, most people, like successful people, they love to share. They have this like amazing motivation to just share what they know, because I think a lot of them, it was so difficult to get to the success that they're in, that they just want to show people almost like a shortcut how to get there. Almost like, okay, hey, here are the things that I did that you could do, right? So for a lot of us, we're fortunate that we have, the integrity family. I mean, if you think about all the partners, they're just amazing people, means good, and they just want to serve others, Consistency. Consistency. If you only get better 1% every day, again, guys, this is a long term. Like I talk about, I'm very fortunate that a lot of my friends, they have
We
like
went
big,
to a divorce, man, and
oh,
wasn't too smart.
so a lot of my friends, a few of my friends, you know, they're building their businesses, and I ask them, like, you know, because they get offers, you know, 200, $300 million. I'm like, why you're not selling? It's like, Diane, most people, like, to achieve a great amount of success, you have to spend at least 10 years. 10 years. So the NVIDIA, you guys are familiar with NVIDIA, it's a supercomputer that is used for AI. Anybody that has an AI, you have to have a supercomputer. NVIDIA took them 15 years to create that supercomputer. Now Apple is investing billions of dollars, Meta and all these other companies are investing. But NVIDIA was like just putting their head down for 15 years, right? Consistency for a long period of time. The problem with us is we just want to microwave it and just get it done. Okay, hey, you know, flash down all your knowledge to me, and we think that it will just naturally carry itself out. No, there's a lot of work to be done, but if you're consistent with it, right? Bruce Lee said, I do not fear the one that, you know, exercise and practice 1,000 kick. I fear the one that perfects a perfect kick, doing it over and over to perfect one kick. Does that make sense? So if you're bad at phone booking, or if you're struggling with phone booking, watch Jeremy Miner. Take time every day, spend at least an hour of phone booking. I bet you money in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 year, you'll be way better than you were a year ago. But you gotta commit. Whatever your weaknesses are right now, I would really just like put your head down and like really spend an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you can, 45 minutes, an hour really at the minimum, and be consistent with it. If you get better 1%, at the end of the year, you're 37% better for whatever it is that you're working on. Be patient. I think the hardest part is the 0 to 100,000 renewal income. That is the hardest, because most people, they have this trajectory, right? It's hard, it's an uphill battle. A lot of people quit before they're so close of that breakthrough. Most people quit. That's why 0 to 100 is the hardest. So if you could just stay to be patient, stay the course, you're going to get there. It's all about momentum, right? You're going to get there. You're going to be successful if you just stay and be patient. To do something else, or to think that it's greener somewhere else, it's really not. It's you. You're the difference maker. You are the one that can make things happen. Doesn't matter what opportunity, what other stuff you're going to do. The beautiful thing about insurance is 2 things. The big reasons why I love it, why I got into it, because I'm able to help people. I'm making a difference every day. The second thing is I'm able to earn renewal income. Wherein, if I build it up for 5, 10 years, 15 years, I don't need to worry about finances for a long, long time or forever, because I've built that business. We're getting paid. It's ridiculous how much we're getting paid. $300 per person. You have 1,000, that's $300,000 a year, right? If you have an agency, you're making so much more, right? So be patient, play the long game. Hustle, obviously, you gotta hustle, right? You gotta outwork everybody if you want to be the best. Simple as that. Now, well, Diane, I'm doing my best. Great. Now, are you doing what is required? Right? Because we can be choosy sometimes, but what is required of you, are you doing that? The longer or the more that you shy away from it, like, oh, I'll get into creating events someday. Oh, I'll get into that in a month or 2. No, freaking face it. You have everything. You can do it. Just do it. Start today. Whatever it is that you've been fearing to do, get them done. And I wish I did it right away. I flirted around it. I'm like, oh God, I cannot do it, right? If you just face it, start doing it every day. If you're scared of talking to dental offices, to provider's office, grab someone in your agency. It's like, hey, can you come with me for at least 2 to 3 times just to help me, talk to a provider's desk or to a billing manager or to a doctor's office. Grab someone from your agency and go with them, right? Just to have someone to be there for you or with you, right? The last thing you know, you're a natural, right? It's like brushing your teeth. Do you even think about brushing your teeth when you wake up? Come on, you don't, right? So guys, it's the same way. All these things that you must do, that you're required to do in this business, you have to do it plenty enough and there's no more struggle. But the struggle is, and the issue is a lot of times, we shy away for the things that is required of us. And if we are not doing the things that we must do, then just go get a job. Because having a job, you could have a mindless job wherein you're just doing the same thing over and over without even thinking, right? You're an entrepreneur. You are the CEO of your life and of your company. You're fully responsible for your results and for your failures. It's not CMS's fault. It's not the lead's fault. It's not your client's fault. It's not your manager's fault. And I hope you have good managers. So you're in Tony's team, so you have the best managers. It's nobody's fault but you. But on the same token, you have the power to make it happen. Nobody and nothing can stop you. Whatever it is that you believe that, like, oh man, it's just so hard. It is hard. But if you're consistent every day, you're doing the things that you must do, you're going to get there. And Dream 100, I shared this last time, is just basically focusing on, for me, probably because I'm in everything, right? We have a really good social media presence, our SEO, our website, we get leads every day from our websites. We have YouTube channel, we have great relationships with all the health systems in Portland Metro. We are almost connected or do events with all the nonprofits, community centers in Portland Metro. Dream 100, I would rather, if I would start today, if let's say I lose everything, for example, I lose everything. If I'm a new agent today and I can only focus on one thing, I would focus on Dream 100. What that is really going after the circle of influence of who and where do seniors go? Who do they trust? Do they trust their providers? Do they trust their doctors? Do they trust their pharmacy? Do they trust their vision clinics? Do they trust their dental offices? I will go after those because each dental clinic will have hundreds, if not thousands of clients. If you win that dental clinic, guess what? Chances are you're going to get referrals every month from that clinic. If you have 20 of those clinics, guess what? You don't need to worry about leads, right? It's easier for me to go after the provider because each of them will have at least an opportunity to have a few referrals, hundreds, if not thousands of referrals. Why wouldn't you go after that? That's what Dream 100 is. Who do they trust? Where do they hang out? If you want to go after the homeless shelter, go where the homeless shelters are. You know how many we're in Portland, so you guys saw on TV. We have a massive, it's disheartening what's going on. A lot of organizations, though, that we work closely with, we really try to help the homeless folks. And that's where my team is at every week. In April alone, our small team in Portland have about 60 events, 60 in the community. These are from grocery stores to homeless shelters to nonprofit to county to the state level, you name it, all across the board. We have 60 events. I told Linda, she's going to speak to you shortly here. I said, I want to get to 100 events in May and every month. And then I want more and more of that, right? So Dream 100, if I could give you one thing that I would do, if I lose everything, I would go with the Dream 100. So the last thing for my secret sauce is do hard things. Choose your hard. What is hard in your life right now? You guys know that 5 years is going to happen. It's 2024 now. 2029 is going to happen, whether we like it or not. What you're doing today is going to basically, all the results are going to happen 5 years from now. How does your life look like in 5 years? Choose your heart. Do you just want to be comfortable and not go all in on your business and just really struggle for a long time? Or you just freaking face your fears and just get it done, do it every single day until you mastered phone booking, until you've mastered how to speak to dental offices, until you've mastered a perfect presentation, until you're like just insanely good at what you do. You have that one perfect kick that Bruce Lee practices when he was alive. Choose your heart. Life is hard, right? That's why I always tell my agents, do one hard thing every day. Because if you do it, especially if you do cold plunge, you feel like you can conquer the world. That's why I love doing it. It's so hard. It challenges your mind. It's so freaking painful. But it's such a relief when you get out of it and the feelings that you feel and your body feels so good. Choose your heart. Do you want to struggle for the next 10 years of your life? Or do you just want to struggle for the next year? I really think that if you're struggling with any capabilities, let's say phone booking, if you do it at least for the next 3 months, after 3 months, you will be automatic, like brushing teeth. You sit down, you dial, you don't even think twice. You already know the words. You already know exactly what you say. You know exactly what to do, and you can close every single day. So choose hard things. That is one of the key things that I do every week. This is my favorite line in the universe, and I want to be known for this. The strongest form of discipline is self-love. Like, God, Diane, I'm so tired. Okay, you're tired, rest up a bit. But having this understanding that if you genuinely care and respect yourself, you're going to make choices, you're going to take action, you're going to do what is good for you, for your well-being, and for your personal growth. Now, personal growth, remember the lobster? It's hard. If you really, really love yourself, don't twist this, because this can be easily twisted, right? If you really, really love yourself, you will do whatever it takes, what is good for you and your future. You will do whatever it takes, however hard it is, to get started on phone booking, to go and talk to provider offices, because you deserve the best. You deserve to have a good future. You deserve to have that personal growth. So ask yourself, how have you been loving yourself lately? Or are you slacking off and you think you're taking care of yourself? You're not going to the gym. You're not eating the right food. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm going to eat. Okay, that's contradictory. Because if you eat a whole cake, is that really loving yourself? Right? And you know you have to phone book twice a week. You said, oh, I'm stressed. I don't want to do that right now. Are you really loving yourself when you do that? What's going to happen to your kids' future? If you do this plenty enough, you're having excuses after excuses. Right? Love yourself enough that no matter how hard, no matter how challenging it could be, you know that you have to go through such a personal growth. It's going to be so hard, but at the end of it, at the end of that tunnel, is true life, fulfilled life, a meaningful life, because you've gone through so much growth. People will see, oh my God, you're a completely different person, right? That's why people, I think, always say, you know, it's not about the destination, it's the journey. Kobe Bryant, I'm more of a Michael Jordan kind of person. I played basketball in college. But Kobe Bryant said this, guys, it's not the championship. That's not the dream. The dream is that personal development that happened during practice. It's like grinding like nobody else. Do you guys know that Kobe Bryant practices 3 to 4 times a day? He would literally get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then go back again for practice at 7 o'clock, and sometimes gets back again at 3 or 4, and then comes back again in the evening. Like the coach for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, the same coach, because, you know, Kobe Bryant wanted to be Michael Jordan, obviously. Kobe Bryant is that intense on how he practiced. So that was the dream. He said this, I think, on his last speech at the Lakers arena. He said, the dream was the grind, the daily grind, the person I was becoming during those grind. That was the dream. Yeah, all the nice things that you're going to have, the travel, the good food, the nice car and the nice house, those are nice. But the person that you're going to become, how much people will admire you just because of your strength and because of your ability to let go and forgive others, your flexibility, whatever. What do you want? I can eat anything. Being so flexible that people are like, oh my God, who is this person? I want to hang out with an amazing person like this, right? Love yourself enough to go through all this process. Because if you do, you're going to be your best self. And that's how you're going to love yourself. Not selfishly, but selflessly. Okay, questions. And I think we have, let's see how much, about 15 minutes. And I'm going to have one of my top agents in the last 5 years share a little bit of her secret sauce. Because I figure, you know, I'm just one person. Maybe I got lucky. Maybe I'm just praying too hard that God blessed me. That's why I got here. But I think that I want you guys to learn from my agents, so that way you could, you know, learn from different backgrounds, different type of people, right? And my hope is that they're all phenomenal. I love them all. As you guys know, all of my agents are either my friends or family member. They all just came to me. I don't really recruit. Like Tony's like, hey, let's do recruiting while I'm there. I'm like, okay, I guess. They all just came to me and they just want to join the agency because of the good work we're doing here at Helpings in Oregon. But go ahead and unmute yourselves if you have questions, anything that you want to ask about. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Dianne Faligowski. Retire Hacks is one of my my website. It's basically, my goal is later when I'm less busy is to inspire others. The Retire Hacks means that insurance could be, I want to really show people the different ways how to be financially independent. That's why, you know, Retire Hacks, like all the hacks that is available out there to be able to be financially independent at a young age. So you could do more. When money is no longer an object, you could do more, and life is so much more fun, I think. So go ahead if you have any questions. I'll see the chat here, but feel free to unmute yourselves if you have to, but let me see if I could see any questions here. Okay, so it looks like Deborah. Do you guys want to unmute yourselves if you have any questions or anything you want to ask me? I'm screenshotting Deborah's message. I'll give you a call next week. This week is fully packed, but let me know.
So how long did it take you to know that you had made it in this industry? Like I'm just now starting the beginning of my second year, but I feel like I've done really well, but I'm very new to the insurance industry. So I'm just trying to learn as much as possible. But how did you get started? Like, when did you know that this was what you were meant to be?
I probably, so I got started in life insurance and selling final expense and supplements. That was very, very hard, right? Because you're asking premiums. Although I loved helping people and figuring out their life insurance and all of that. But for me, I would never say I've made it in life. I don't think I would ever say that. I love to learn. I love doing more things, anything that is impactful, either investing or being a part of a lot of projects or businesses that can change the world. But for me, it was easy for me, right? Okay, I came to the United States for two reasons. I want to help people. I want to be financially independent as fast as I can. How can I do that, right? So you guys know we built a 90-bed senior care facility. You know how much money it took to get that going, right? In insurance, you really don't need a lot of money to get started. Most businesses, I own a Core Coffee. I still own a trademark for it, but we closed down during COVID. But Core Coffee, for giving you an example, that cost me $90,000 to, have a really nice space, all organic coffee and acai bowl and all that stuff. Like, it's really like insurance is so cheap to get started with. Does that make sense? Like I've checked it all out. I've looked at Amway, I've looked at all the different type of businesses and entrepreneurship. There is no such thing as insurance. The barrier to entry is like, you don't even need money per se to get started. You just need to learn those capabilities, communication skills, and being able to network with people, right? So for me, I'm always trying to get to the next level. I love learning. I like hanging out with ultra successful people. I always try to be the smallest person in the room so I can learn more, I can be more, and I could give more of myself. So kudos to you. This is your second year, the third year. So as you go by, things will get easier and easier every single year. That's all
I
can
love helping people. I'm just ready to like I'm fixing to do my CPC license and be able to do like funeral. So I've learned how to create those relationships and they get so attached to you. They become like family in a lot of cases. So I really do enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. That's good. You love helping people. That is key. You gotta love helping people because we're in the people business, right? Anybody else?
If we could give Miss Diane a hand, please, or a couple of woo-hoos. Thank you, Diane.
So good.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ask more questions because we have our next agent speaking in a little bit, but otherwise I'm going to be talking and talking. I could talk all day. But I want to take this moment to just, if you have any questions or struggle or anything that you want to know about investing or anything that you're curious about.
Can you
Are
speak
you-
on that? Can you speak on that NVIDIA investment a little bit more? Why you think it's a good one to invest now?
So let me look at it right now. I'm not sure if now is a good one, but hang on, let me look.
I think it's $8.77 a share.
Let's see if it pulled back. So there's FOMC, I think, on Wednesday. So usually FOMC, they're gonna say they're gonna raise rates or not. As you can see, the market pulled back right now, 863. Let me see. So it tends to stay within this area. So NVIDIA is the only company right now that have supercomputers. Apple, Meta, Google, a lot of them are investing a ton of money on developing their own, but that could take a long while. And Intel, I think the government just gave Intel billions of dollars to create a supercomputer as well. So that could take a long time. I think in my own projection for long term, don't do options, please do not. For long term, I think that NVIDIA could get to $3,000 if they don't split at 1,000 or 1,500 per share. I like Tesla just because I think they are the ultimate AI if you want AI. Tesla just ran in the last, my friend actually made $100,000 in, she's like, get in it. And I was too busy. I'm like, oh, but yeah, she made $100,000 yesterday actually. But Tesla, it pulled back at $12 right now. I think it's pretty good at this point if you do long term. Don't do anything. Again, I rarely do anything short term. For me, when I get into something, I look at it 10-year horizon. I don't do anything, any shortcut. I don't do anything that is quick because big things take time.
Thank you.
Yep. So,
Dianne,
go
this is just a question. How are you today? I'm enjoying your presentation.
Thank you.
With
Appreciate that.
with all the things you do on a daily basis, how do you cram everything in from 7 a.m. to 6? You say at 6 you cut it off. How do you manage to do that? What do you do on the weekends? You didn't comment on the
I
weekend.
play golf. I go fishing with my kids. I hang out with my friends. I go wine tasting. If you're very disciplined on how you structure your calendar, you can achieve so many things. I'm usually up by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning as well. So I think that you could do it in two ways. You could gradually, let's say, usually get up at 9 o'clock, gradually get up at 8:30. And then once your body's getting used to that, try to get 8 o'clock. The reason that I like to wake up early in the morning is there's no distractions. Nobody can contact me. I can get shit done. And I can take care of my body, my soul, and my mind, spending time with my devotional, with my Bible, and really spending time with Jesus. And I could fully serve because I've filled my cup. You cannot give what you do not have, right? So if you schedule everything in your calendar and you stick with it, try it. I do this all the time with my team. I'm like, your calendar will dictate your future, how you're living your calendar. If you don't have anything in your calendar, you're going to be empty in the next 5 years. So don't get this wherein, oh my gosh, you're like, you don't have a life. Are you kidding me? I have such a full life. A full life because I'm so disciplined with my time. We need to be disciplined, like we know. Now you guys know exactly what you need to do from here on out, right? You probably hopefully got 1 or 2 or 3 things that you've learned that you're going to implement. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that, right? Okay, now create another list while we're waiting for my agent to come on board. Create another list. And the title should be Things Not to Do. So if you're a new agent with me, I usually sit down with you and ask you how much time you're spending on social media and how much of that time is empowering you, educating you, making you feel better. Because I think entertainment is good too. I do watch some series, some movies, right? I do every week. But if social media making you more upset, making you more jealous, making you more envious of other people, please delete social media. But if you use social media to empower you, to inspire you, to renew your mind, because our mind can be very, very negative, then you can keep it. Most of my agents, they delete it. In fact, actually, a few of them like, Dianne, I think I'm ready to get back with social media. I'm like, be careful. Because if there's, technology is so powerful, right? But if we're not careful, it can also ruin our lives. Many, many lives are ruined because now we're just texting each other. We don't even hang out anymore. We don't even like have that one-on-one anymore, right? Our presence is no longer shared, which is very, very sad. So I'm very disciplined on the things that I should not be doing and the things that I should be doing. I do not hang out with negative people. Bless their hearts, but I just do not. If I know that I have a person that will just ruin my day just because I cannot change them, no matter how I try, I distance myself from those people. Don't ever expect that your friends and most often your family will understand your hustle, will understand what you're trying to do. And that's the hardest thing, right? Most of my family actually did not even know that I sold a 15.5 million facility. They did not know. Most of my family and friends don't know about the AI, all the businesses that I invest into, right? I just don't share those things. I don't. So create a list of do not do list. Okay, let me be practical. How much time are you spending on doing your laundry? How much time are you doing mowing your lawn? How much time are you the things that you're doing? If you have kids, how your kids do it? I'm from the Philippines. I don't abuse my kids, but I teach them responsibility. Have your kids do your laundry. I have my kids do my laundry. Can I afford to pay someone? Yes. But if you have kids, utilize your kids. Put them to work. Pay them if you have to. I don't pay my kids to do chores. Now, the postcards, like Dianne, I want to write things down. Okay. You have a kid? Have your kid write the postcard. Thank you for the opportunity for becoming your agent. Looking forward to servicing you for the rest of your life with your Medicare, right? Have your kid, pay your kid $10, $15 an hour to write the postcards. You should have a do not do list. You should put a value with your time, $500 an hour. You value your time $500, or now it's what, $600 for new to Medicare, $600 an hour. You shouldn't be doing things that is worth, if you can pay someone to do 15 an hour kind of job, do it. Whatever is eating your time that is not worth it, pay someone to do it. If you have kids, teach your kids responsibility. That's what I do. I have 3 boys. Each of them knows how to work. They work every day. So create a not to do list. Take a look at, okay, I spend 2 hours on social media. You guys know if you have an iPhone, it'll tell you, you spent 1,000 hours on social media this week, right? It gives you how many hours you spend on social media. Cleaning a house, how often, how long does it take you to clean your house? Does it take you 3 hours in a week? I think it's more important to enjoy your kids with those 3 hours. Pay someone, because that is true life right there, right? Spending time with our kids, with our loved ones.
Hi, Dianne. Can you hear me? This is June Brown.
Yeah. Hi, June.
Hello. I am so thrilled that you're doing this for us, and I am so impressed with all the things you've accomplished and how you just do so many things and so well. So since you're such a good person at handling so many things at the same time, tell us how you handle all those things. Just like the other guy was asking you, how do you do all these things from 4 o'clock in the morning till 6 p.m.? How many people help you with the things that you don't have time to do that you need to do?
So yeah, thank you, June. I appreciate you. So if you have kids, utilize your kids. They know how to do social media. If you want to be on social media, you can easily ask them to help you set up social media. I have a 19-year-old and 14-year-old. My 14-year-old does all the website, does all the social media, does all my greeting cards, my thanks IO greeting cards. Okay, does all of that, right? And then as far as business, I mean, if you could, you will find like single moms, you could teach them how to do all those admin work. Admin work you shouldn't be doing, to be honest, because that's $15, $20 an hour, 25 an hour type of job. You should be, if you just really change your mindset, if you just put in $600 an hour and figure out who can be doing this little thing, right? So figure it out. Luckily enough, I have 3 kids. They're able to do the things that I could do. I have a lot of agents that are my friends, and they're able to do what? If I need help on anything, they're able to do it, right? And then trying to have a really understanding husband, understand who I am as a person. I mean, it did not happen overnight wherein he understands how driven I am. I want to do more, and he always says I'm from Mars because I never stop. I seem like to have energy for anything and everything. But it's just the way I am. And I wasn't like this when I first came to the United States, right? I am one of those people when I had like a few friends. I didn't like talking to people. I didn't like hanging out with people. I'm like, you wouldn't believe who I was. But I became this because of I just tough it out. I was willing to go through so much hardships and so much intensity of breaking out of my shell, that lobster. But for me, I think once you go through that process of the dream of going through that process, you just become more and you just want to do more naturally. And I think that is the power that a lot of people don't realize or don't think about, because you just become invincible almost. Like you can like almost achieve anything you want. And that's not going to happen if you're not willing to put your head down and do this for years and years. Actually, everything's almost automatic now, literally. My body clock, even if I go to bed at 2, I wake up at 4 or 5. It's insane. Like, and I try to go back to sleep. I can go back to sleep. I don't take naps either. It's just the way I am now. But because of this business, because of just really having the discipline of going through all of that, all the things that I mentioned, being really, really disciplined with my calendar, protecting my time, and really knowing the time wasters, the things, the activities that I should not be doing, I do not do them. And I just focus on the things that I should be doing. And that's how I handle it. So I think my top agent, Lay, is coming in. So I want to get her in. Again,
Thank you.
Are you in?
Yes, I'm here.
There she is. Okay, she's in a car. She's like, hey, is it okay for me to get in the phone in a car? I want to introduce you to her. I don't know how many book of business she's in now, but she has 3 small kids, rambunctious kids. And every time I go to her house, she can have like 3 little kids yelling, screaming. She's signing people up like there's nothing going on. I'm like, how do you do it? So I wanted to invite her real quick. And again, just be inspired that if she could do it, all of you, literally 100% of you could do it, could write 600 to 700 apps a year. Super, super possible. Go ahead, Lay. I'm not sure how many apps did you write last year? I can't remember.
500 something, I think.
Okay, 500 something with 3 kids.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Lei, and I am the #1 agent from Insurance Marketplace Agency. Our leader is Dianne. How I started, I was one of the pioneers here. One of the first agents when Dianne started, and she is really an inspiration to all of us. Like all of us 5 are still doing it right now. So until now, we are still like doing insurance with her and growing with her. So how I started, like her, I was also an immigrant. I came from the Philippines. She's my sister-in-law, and she taught me how to be #1, because she's #1 before, and then when she retired, then I'm the #1. So I started, she encouraged me to start insurance. At first, I don't know what to do. Of course, I just migrated in 2015, and I don't know what to do. I'm starting a family with my husband, and then we had 1 kid before, and I just can't have a full-time job with having a newborn. And then she said that insurance, you have flexible time, you can manage your time, work, and then take care of your kids, right? And then, well, for me, I just have three C's that I think over the years I follow. I didn't realize it, but when now it's time, like, how did you become the top agent, like, for years? I think I need to review myself. What did I do? And I think I've come up with the 3 C's, and I'm willing to share it with you. First C is controlled mindset. So I think this is a very important part to become successful. If you need to have a goal in mind. You need to set your mind that you're gonna be successful, you're gonna do whatever you want to do. My goal is like to do whatever I want to do at any time without thinking of money. That I can just do whatever I want. If I want to work, or I just want an overflowing of money, that whenever I want to travel or whenever I want to do something, it's basically free, right? That without worrying anything. So that is my goal, and my mind is really set to reach that goal. So this is a big opportunity that can help you reach that goal because of the passive income. So every day, my mind is just focused to reach my goal. Like you should be able to manage your time wisely. If I need to work, it doesn't matter if it's a long time or, for how long. Because remember, when I'm starting, I'm just starting with some kids so I just started as part-time, and as they grow, then that's whenever I can do it. But I set my time, but when I set my time for work, then I just really work. And then second one is being consistent. So it's consistency. So each day you do whatever you need to do, your goal. It doesn't matter if it's writing the apps, if it's phone booking, if it's networking, as long as all the little things, it contributes to reach your goal. Like one day you'll just realize that all those little things, it's gonna be important And then one day you'll just reach your goal. So consistency on what you do, your calendar should be booked, like things that you need to do. You'll have some strategy. I think with in here we have like a lot of strategies to get some leads, to do some, if you want to do mailers or phone booking or events and for providers relations. So all of those mix, then you're gonna know which strategy will work for you best. And then as you work, the third one is being compassionate. So I also believe in this, doing the right thing for your clients. So you need to understand what they really want, what they really need at that time when you meet them or when you're going to enroll them into a plan. You just don't enroll them just because without understanding what they really need. And then like it's building their trust on you. So even if you don't help them with the plan, but you did the right thing for them, that they needed to apply for some other subsidy, you need to like kind of having a service, like additional service for them, and then they will trust you and then refer people to you. So it's just like giving them helping them, being caring or compassionate to them. And then they will see you, that you're doing it for them. They will feel it. They will feel the experience that they had with you, and then they will refer you to their family, to their friends. That will also build your clients or business. Like over the years, I just didn't realize, but that's what we're doing. It's just doing the right thing for the client. But I think our whole agency, that is what we do. We are focused on the population, low income people. So it's really an extra effort to deal with them. Also, with the right agency, like with Dianne here, I've never seen other agencies that is really helpful and doing a lot of co-ops to help build business and start your business with the agency. Like she has, like we have this lead co-ops that each time you write, she would match it to she would match the leads that you buy, and then will help you start. And then over the years, once you get your commission, then you can be independent on your own. But at least you have something to start. So I'm not sure if all of you wants to become an agent. It's not for everyone, of course, but give it a try. If you have a goal in mind, it is the best opportunity that I think, a faster way to get your goal or become financially free. So I guess that's it. Do you have any other questions for me?
I think we're good. Thank you,
I have a
Lay.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
How long have you been in the business?
So I've been licensed since 2015. So this is my 8th year, going 9th year doing insurance.
Okay. And are you a GA or are you still working as an agent?
I'm still working as an agent right now, but we are currently in the process of becoming GA.
Okay. And were you going to talk to us about phone booking, your techniques?
No, that'll be Adam. He's next.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your
So
time.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, Lay.
Okay. Thank
Have a good day.
you.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, next one up. If you have a pen, or I think you should just listen on how Adam does it. Adam is one of my close friends, very, very successful Stanford graduate. He's done amazing things, created an entrepreneur high school, very, very smart. He's done a lot of businesses as well, but I think he loves insurance the most, and he's gonna share to you. He's gone through the whole Jeremy Minor course, the paid version, and I hope that you are ready because Adam is gonna bring in the heat. So I think he's coming in now. Adam, are you there? There he is, Professor Adam. So share briefly about your background and how you got insurance, and then everyone's very eager for you to share about the Jeremy Minor course that you've gone through and that you train our agents with.
Sure. How many people are in this?
64.
64. Wow, that's a good amount. So,
Yeah.
all right. So I'm an educator by profession, and I've been in education most of my life. I've built programs, meaning I've built high schools and set up programs around the Portland area. And my parents were struggling initially with Medicare. Diane, being an insurance agent, I would pick her brain around things. And since I'd done so much policy work, because building schools required me to interact with the city, the county, the state, the federal government. So when it came to Medicare, I was able to understand how all these moving parts can actually line up and work together. I figured out what worked for my mom, didn't work for my dad. And I felt like people needed advocates. They didn't need pushy salespeople. And so I started about 2017, 2018, and I've been doing it since. And even just this last fall, I actually left the education field for good. Or I'd say I left the education field and now I've been doing Medicare full time. So that's a bit of my background. Is there anything else I should add, Diane?
What got you an insurance?
Well, you did. So you were telling me for about 10 years that I should consider it. And I didn't want to do it for the longest time. And then once I started learning more about it, specifically to help out my parents, and then I started seeing the opportunity in it. And it's actually been really cool. I enjoy it. I enjoy the mental puzzle of it. And I see a population of people that really need help. They need advocates. They need people that are ultimately helping them navigate this, because it's confusing and it's frustrating, as we all know. But when you're a senior citizen, or the senior citizen population, it's even harder. It's even more confusing. The world just seems to be getting more and more complex. And in my opinion, they need more advocates and people really looking after them. So I think the work we do is important for that reason. So do you want me to just launch into Jeremy Minor stuff?
Let's go.
Okay, so it's kind of weird talking on Zoom. Normally I'd have it be more interactive, but I'll try. Is there anybody here that's familiar with a person named Jeremy Minor?
I am.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'd say if people aren't familiar with Jeremy Minor, follow him on Instagram, look at his YouTube channel. What I like about him is that he has a really good approach to being able to talk to people and ultimately do still what we call sales. And he calls it the NEPQ. It's called the Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questioning. And the idea behind it is it's having a conversation with people, first off, to even qualify them. One of the things I like that he says is when you initially, whether it's a cold call, whether it's meeting with people, however it is, don't necessarily go in thinking, I got to sell, but actually just first go in thinking, I need to qualify this person to see if they're even a potential client. They may or may not be. And if they are a potential client, then there's a series of questions and kind of a methodology that you go through that actually you are simply asking them questions. And through that line of questioning, they come to the conclusion that they want what it is that you're doing. And they actually end up convincing themselves. So what's really nice about it, because I know a lot of this is, and I see agents do this all the time. It's like, hey, you're on Medicaid, you're on Medicare, or you're on LAS, or whatever it may be. You can get this extra benefit. You can get this and this and this and this and this. And it's throwing all this spaghetti on the wall, hoping something sticks. Or it's trying to like convince somebody, like, duh, don't you want these extra benefits? Why would you turn this down? And it's just this constant pushing of things. And what I like about his process is it's actually very nonchalant, even at the point where many times when I'm doing cold calling, I'll like lean back in my chair, kick back, and purposely, because it changes my tone when I do that. And if I'm very kind of nonchalant about it, then, and I'm simply just asking questions of people, then they many times, not always, because there's situations where it just doesn't make sense, but many times they'll come to their own conclusion, especially when those situations do make sense. And so it's not me trying to convince anybody of anything, which is really nice. I would do the analogy to dating. It's like for anyone dating, if you're out there, you're like, hey, you want to go out? You want to go out? You want to date me? It's a big turn off to people. I'd say the same exact thing in sales. But if you're kind of just nonchalant, like, hey, and you're kind of just kicking back and just playing it cool, that's a lot more attractive to people. So sales is really no different in that respect. And that's personally why I like Jeremy Miner's methodology. Have I left anything out so far, Diane? Did you want to add anything else?
It's good. Keep going.
Okay. So I'll give, can I do a screen share? I think I can. Nope. Can someone enable the screen share? Because I'll show you some stuff that I've.
Yeah. Give me 1 second there, Adam. There you go.
Okay, awesome. Let me see if I can do this. So share screen and okay, I'll just go with the desktop, see how we can do that. Okay, and so there we go. Okay, sorry, I gotta enable it on my computer. Oh, shoot.
Are you using a Mac?
Yeah.
Do you know how to grant permissions on the
Yeah, I did that. It's wanting me to quit and reopen. So I might have to sign back in.
That's fine. It
Okay.
shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds or something.
Okay, 1 second.
I wish I had the Jeopardy music to play while
Yeah, no worries.
we're waiting. If you guys would like to enjoy the musical stylings of my 15-month-old, she's right now trying to sing along to Miss Rachel. But Diane, while he's doing that, you've mentioned Jeremy Miner before on,
Yeah.
I think it was like, what, 2, 3 weeks ago, you were on our Monday morning call. How did you come across him?
As I mentioned, I try to always learn, and I found him probably 3 years ago, and I told my team, hey, get into it. And then because Adam is always trying to go to the next level, he bought the entire course. I'm like, fantastic. Now train everybody with it. So the beautiful thing about Adam is he only one main strategy. He's just basically buying leads, lead center or mailers. That's all he does. That's why he's the perfect person to really train on this, because for me, I'm more of networking type of person, grassroots, right? I did phone booking too, but nobody better than Adam on training, if you ask me.
Well, thanks, Diane. Okay. And Diane, like my strategy, I really, personally speaking, phone booking is really the main strategy. Now I get referrals, but I have just over 1,100 clients, and most of them I got just by picking up the phone and calling people. And so there's a couple different intros, which I'll share the different ones depending on the different leads that people may be working. But let me get to this here. Okay. So this is kind of the Jeremy Minor process. And as Diane mentioned, I've actually, it's been a year now since I've been enrolled in his specific courses. In June, I'm going to actually be going to Phoenix, Arizona, attending with him one of his sessions where it's going to be more intensive on script crafting. So I'm looking forward to that. And I actually just renewed another year of what they call like the inner circle. So it has just regular daily, weekly coaching as well as the actual online courses, which is kind of cool. So as Diane mentioned, I felt like, because I've been doing this 7 or 8 years now, and I felt like about a year ago I was plateauing because the people around me I had already talked to, I'd already worked with quite a bit, nothing against them at all, but I've just been around them so much. I was curious what else is out there. What else do I not know? And that's why I ended up doing this. Because out of all the people, nothing against like Grant Cardone or any of those people, but out of all the people that do sales training, I really like Jeremy Minor's process. And I'll even go so far to say in the Medicare space, senior citizen space, I think Jeremy Minor's process is really effective because the typical kind of pushier, convincing, like hyper aggressive type sales tactics don't work as well on the senior population. So let me get into it a little bit at a high level. Can people see this where it says 7th level?
Yeah.
Okay. So the number one thing, and this is where I think if anybody's done phone booking, you have like 5 seconds to connect with the person, to basically engage them. Otherwise they hang up on you, you get cussed at, you lose them. So number one thing is when you talk to somebody, it's all about initially what we call the connecting questions. So it takes the focus off of you as the salesperson trying to convince them of something, and it puts the focus immediately on them. So I'll give an example of this. Somebody who has given, maybe they've turned in a lead card, right? So you do the mailers, you get a mailer back. I'll call up that person and I'll just say, hi, it's Adam. And I'll get into more of the tonality and the reasons I say this stuff in a little bit, but I'll say, hi, it's Adam. I'm calling because I got something in the mail back from you showing that you're interested in learning more about Medicare. And I was just wondering what you were interested in. So that's one example of an intro. The other one would be, I got something in the mail showing you're interested in Medicare, and I'm curious, have you found what you're looking for? And so like those immediately lend to where they start talking. And so based on their response, many times they'll say, well, I don't know what I'm looking for, or this is so confusing. And then it leads into a bigger conversation. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what seems to be confusing about it for you? And immediately you start getting, and this is where the next step is situation questions. So you start getting into their situation. What do you have now? What do you wish you had? And you could kind of go through, I mean, this is a lot more involved, but the situation question is finding out what their current status is. What doctor network are they using? What Medicare or health insurance do they have right now? Do they have subsidies? Those type of things. Do they have veterans or employer insurance? Any of those things. The problem awareness is, what do they wish they had? What are they looking for? What are the pains they may be experiencing? What gains are they looking for? And then the solution awareness is kind of going right hand in hand with that problem awareness, which is, well, like, I'll give an example. A lady I'm talking to, she's like, I just don't have enough dental. Okay, well, can you tell me a little bit more about that situation? And then she starts telling me how at family gatherings, she has to wear a mask because she's missing so many teeth. She's embarrassed to be around her family because she looks like a jack-o'-lantern. Her words, not mine. And And she's almost like in tears telling me about this. And then the next part of this is like the consequence question. So that's where the next piece is, well, if you were able to have a full set of dentures, what would that do for you? What would that provide you? And that's where she starts talking about how she could finally smile and eat her food properly. And the real piece of that, like this may seem kind of like a obvious question to us who's about to ask it, but what it ends up doing is it has her actually playing that situation out. So as she's describing what it means to smile at a family dinner by having a full set of dentures, she's actually experiencing that and living that emotionally. And that's where it's not so much about me getting all this info from her at that point, but it's about her emotionally going through that process of picturing that problem being solved. And so the qualifying questions piece, like in Medicare, it doesn't have to be at the end here. It can actually be anywhere in this process. But that's where we just want to make sure, like, could they be on the plan that we're talking about? Do they qualify? Doctors, even do they have Part A and B? I mean, I think we all know the technical sides of that. But you go through that first part of it, and it's really conversational, and they do 95% of the talking. And so at that point, it's really like you'll hear them ready, and they're almost asking, what's the next step? What do I do? How do I get this situation solved? So at that point, that's where the transition piece comes in. Well, if I was able to get you dentures like $2,000 or however much towards dentures and keep the doctors that you have, or do this or do that, would that be useful for you? And again, you just kind of sit back and, well, yeah, and they lean forward and come into it. And then that's where, like, at the end, like, you've already gone through 95% of this. The last 5% is what they call the presentation piece, where, okay, well, there's this plan that's available for you. Here's how it would work. And honestly, at that point, when you're presenting that, you already know the answer. It's already kind of a done deal and it's already closed. It's more of just a formality at that point. And so that's where they're like, well, sign me up. How do I do that? So so that's at a very high level for this process. Now, obviously, there's objections and there's things that people will throw out there. It's not always super smooth like that. But I just want to pause there and take questions or take anything from any of you at this point.
Hi, Jeremy. Or is most of your work on the phone or is most of your work in person?
Almost all of it is initially on the phone. So I'll call people and I'll have the phone call. And in that phone call, I've actually lined up if it's gonna move to an enrollment. And I use this process. Now, when I get to that like presentation piece, I'll talk about like, well, here's your solution. Here's how we can actually make this work for you. And they're like, okay, great. Well, how do I sign up? And at that point, I'll say, well, we could either meet in person. I have an office. You could come down to the office and we could do it. Sometimes I'll even go out to them. Or if you want, we could do it right here over the phone. Granted, there's compliance issues there that I need to meet. I would say when it actually, the enrollment's already done at that point in terms of they're going to do it. Now, 50% of probably what I do is in person, 50% is over the phone in terms of the actual enrollment.
Okay, that leads to the next question. So it sounds like most of your, and you correct me because I'm just trying to see how your book of business has built. It sounds like most of it is fostered from the phone and then it leads to a first in face-to-face upon their request. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say like 50-50. So sometimes,
Okay.
and I offer the in-person because there's rightfully so, people are skeptical and it gives them comfort if they actually have an office and a real person that they can meet with. So they know I'm not some scammer overseas that's trying to just convince them of something. So If they want to do that, and I actually, many ways, I prefer to meet people in person just because I want a personal relationship. Um, so I put that out there to them, but there's some people that, especially post-COVID, nope, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to meet in person. They just want to get it done and do it over the phone. That's fine too. So that's why I give them the option.
And then what are your resources to getting your phone to ring?
And when you like getting it to ring in terms of,
Yeah, so if you're working from the phone, are you working from a base of lead? Where are you getting your lead source from?
yeah. So what I did in the very beginning is I would just buy leads. I would use the various lead companies. I kind of alternated between them, and I would send out mailers and I would buy leads. I'd pick up the phone and I would just call them.
Okay.
Then I started getting some carrier leads. So carriers
Mhm.
would give me leads, and that was straight cold calling. They weren't expecting my phone call. And I could share a little bit of what that looks like in terms of the openers as well, if you'd like. Um,
Okay.
there's also lead lists that are out there that you could purchase. Again, complete cold calling at that point, which like there's internet leads now that you could buy off of, like, I know we use Lead Center. And those people do not know that they're getting called. Like in this scenario that I did earlier, this person sent in a mailer. So those are the mailer leads. And those I find actually pretty good in terms of if you call them pretty quickly, they remember that they sent in the mailer. So they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, well, I'm interested, or I was just curious about this. It leads into a conversation. When you're cold calling somebody that has no idea you're going to call them, it's a little bit different of an opener.
Yeah.
So, and I can give that example if you want of what that looks like.
Now, can you go back to when you first started? I don't know
Mhm.
when you started. I don't know if it was like a year ago or 8 years ago.
It was like
When you first
2018, 2018.
18, okay, when you first started, you were going from ground zero.
Right.
And you have to think about you weren't just coming out of grade school. You had to make money because you had to support a lifestyle. How long did it take you to get running where you're like, okay, this is sustainable? I'm not, scratching to make ends meet. How long did it take you to go, okay, this is going to work for me?
Yeah. So I was teaching. So I did have I had another job at the point. I was teaching. At that point, I was teaching full time. And so what I did is I would finish teaching at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would start calling till maybe 6 o'clock. And I would also call on Saturdays. Sometimes I would try calling on Sundays. I didn't do that a whole lot because people tend to get mad when you call them on Sundays. But I found actually Saturday mornings, starting around 9:30, 10 o'clock, a lot of people were home. And so I would call Saturdays up until like maybe 2 o'clock. And I would book appointments and I'd run appointments all the way till 8 o'clock at night. So I'd finish teaching at 2 or 3 o'clock and I'd run appointments till like 8. And I started actually, what I liked about teaching is I had summers off and I also had like spring break and I had a ton of holidays. So I remember actually Diane, she just sent me a picture a couple of weeks ago. I started actually learning this in the summertime when I was off of teaching. And at that point, I would go door knocking as well, which we can't do now for Medicare Advantage at least. Um, and I started learning in July. I practiced in July and August. I started getting some enrollments coming in, but it wasn't until my first AEP that I purchased a whole bunch of leads for AEP and I just started working those hard. And my first AEP, I think I did between like 60 or 70 enrollments. And then the check came in January. So obviously you have to sustain yourself till January. But once I saw that check come in January, at least, I thought, okay, this is doable. And then I worked OEP and then I worked the LAS stuff. And I got up and running pretty quickly, I'd say. Um, I mean, I would do anywhere from maybe 20, sometimes I do over 50 enrollments in a month. So just doing that, picking up the
Eh,
phone, calling.
So it sounds like with you, you were just like what the other person said, disciplined. You just kept at it because it seems that when I meet people that work part-time, they slide off easily because they
Mhm.
have another job. And in your case, the reason why you didn't give up is because you started to see success, where others are like, well, I did 5 here, but my other job brings in more money. So they're almost like almost using this business to almost excuse themselves out versus using this business to include themselves in. So it's a mindset that I see that you have differently than I see with other people. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, what I loved about this is my job had a base salary every single month. If I put in 80 hours a week and worked really, really hard, I still made the same amount of money. And I cared about it. I cared. It was a passion of mine. It was a passion. I loved teaching. So I would put in the work and I cared a lot about it, but I couldn't make any more money at it. And so what I saw with this is that based on the money that based on the effort that I put into this, I could actually make my income go up substantially, which I found most valuable. If I needed 5,000 extra dollars in a month because I want to go on a family vacation, I just had to pick up the phone more and I had to do more enrollments. And it was like, whoa, this is amazing. And it was really cool doing that. Now, yeah, you had to be disciplined for sure. So I remember telling my wife even like, okay, I'm not going to be home until after 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to go run these appointments. I'm going to do this. And I think the other part of this, excuse me, the other part of it that's hard is that especially when you're doing like phone booking and cold calling, I tell my wife it's like I'm waking up in the day just to go get gut punched over and over and over again. Because you're gonna have people that will cuss you out, that will get mad at you, that will scream at you, that will hang up on you. And it's hard to take that. I see like as someone who trains agents, I see that as one of the hardest things is that the agent gets on the phone, they get hung up on, they get cussed at, and it's just really hard not to get demoralized. And I just think it's really being there to coach agents through that and just learn like that's just unfortunately part of it at times. At the same time, some of the people who cuss me out, I just let them go. And I empathize with them. Like, you know what? I get where you're coming from. This is annoying that so many people are calling you, that you're getting hounded at this, that this is so confusing. I just want to see if I can be of use to you. If you want to have a conversation with me, how does that sound? And some of those people who were cussing me out after they let it out of their system and get to that point, they've actually become some of my most loyal clients. So it's just getting over that too. I see Cami has her hand up.
Hi, Adam. Thanks so much. This
Sure.
is great. I do want to hear your opening lines when you're calling people. I know you alluded to that before. And
Yeah.
the other question I had for you is, do you ever use appointment setters? Do you employ anybody to make appointments for you?
So I did it when I first started, I didn't. And then the FMO that we use or IMO, I forget the letters, but they actually did have appointment setters for a little while, which I found really helpful. To be honest, I found them helpful to get through the first round of leads that would come in. And then whatever ones they couldn't book or didn't book, I actually followed up and called them because I found I had a higher success rate than them. And I think that they're great. If you have appointment setters that can do it. I now have not used appointment setters anymore because I find now with the scope of appointments and the regulations and all that stuff, it gets too messy. So now I do 100% of my own booking and all that stuff because I'll do phone scopes and things like that. Does that answer your question there?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I'll give a couple other openers because you were also asking for that. So if I'm calling people, like let's say I purchase leads off of Lead Center, these are not necessarily people that turned anything in. They are people sometimes that will have their data scrubbed by cookies or a number of other things. And if I call them up, and this also, I mean, can be similar with carrier leads. So I'll call them up and my opener is typically, let's say George. Hi, George, it's Adam. And just real quick, I never say my name is Adam because when we say my name is Adam, it sounds very impersonal. If I just call up and say, hi, George, it's Adam, I sound a lot more personal to them. And they're like, is Adam? Do I know Adam? So they're leaning in a little bit more. I'll say, hi, George, it's Adam. I'm wondering if you can help me out with something. And many times well, it depends what it is. What do you mean? Well, your name came across my desk because you seem to have Medicare. Is that even accurate? And well, it depends who's asking what's going on. And Well, I think the reason your name came across my desk with Medicare is because it seems like you might be qualifying for some additional benefits, or we might be able to help your situation. And I'm just curious if you'd be open to a conversation about that. So again, I'm asking, is it okay if we talk about this? And it sparks a curiosity there many times, not always. And well, and it'll, again, they start normally talking. Well, I don't know. Like I'm actually curious. There's this neighbor that ends up getting this food card, or I actually do need more dental, or, and it many times it'll lead into a bigger conversation at that point. So that's typically how I do the direct cold calls. And I could actually share, let me do another screen share. See here. Here we go. Okay. So this is my script for that. This is actually for, here we go. Connection. So in this one, it's one of my colleagues, David. Hi, George. It's David. I have a situation I was hoping you could help me with. And then there's different responses there. Well, your name came across my desk regarding Medicare. I'm not even sure if this is accurate. Are you even on Medicare? Well, yeah, I'm on Medicare. Well, if you don't mind me asking, are you getting everything from your Medicare that you had hoped? And in my experience, that's a really powerful question, because that's where it gets like, well, what do you mean? What? And it again, it elicits like a curiosity, a response there. And then depending on how the conversation goes, another question that could come up is, has anybody ever explained to you how Medicare even works or how it could work for you? And many times people are like, no, nobody's actually taken the time to explain this to me, because most of the phone calls they get are these sales calls that are just trying to throw benefits at them. And then another question I've seen really powerful is, when it comes to your Medicare, what's most important to you? What is it that you're really hoping to get out of it? So again, I'm going to pause there. Any questions or anything on those?
No, I love it. I think those are all great.
And again, this is what I use for the direct cold calls, people that are not expecting me to call them at all. I found that these tend to be the most successful. Now, the other one that I would say, like carrier leads, if you get carrier leads, then you call up, hi, it's Adam. I'm calling on behalf of Providence, because we can't misrepresent like an employee of Providence. I'm calling on behalf of Providence, and we're currently running your Medicaid, or in some cases, we're currently running your prescription program for Medicare. And it seems like you qualify for some additional benefits. And I just wanted to see if they would even be useful for you. So again, it's kind of nonchalant. It's like it elicits the curiosity, and I'm not trying to push anything on them. It's like, hey, it appears that you qualify for some extra benefits, and I just wanted to see if that'd be helpful for you. Well, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. What are the benefits? And again, it goes into the conversation. So normally when they ask those questions, I say, well, in order to see what you might qualify for, is it okay if I ask you a couple additional questions? Because because what I found is, if you launch in right away, well, who's your primary care doctor? Do you have diabetes or a heart condition? Like these things, people are just like, well, who are you? And they'll hang up on you. I'm not giving you that info. But if you ask their permission, is it okay if I just ask you a couple questions? And sometimes people are like, I'm not giving you any personal information. No, I totally understand. And it's good to be skeptical. I applaud that. I'm not going to ask for any financial information or any really sensitive information. It's more just around the medical side of things. What doctor, if you don't mind me asking, what doctor network are you using? Do you have any certain chronic conditions like diabetes or heart conditions? So I'm not asking their birthday. I'm not asking their social security number, stuff like that. And the biggest thing, the biggest part of this, when you're asking them questions and when you're having this dialogue, is it's ultimately about building trust. And so many times when we get in these conversations, through the conversation, they see that I know what I'm talking about. They see that I understand the system. I'm able to explain it to them. And I'm not just some person just trying to churn and burn. I'm not just trying to sign them up and that's it. So I find through the course of this, again, and that's where, like, when I hear their pain points, I'll ask them, well, if we can solve for this, what would that do for you? What would that look like for you? And then they're living that. They're living through that. Okay, well, based on what I'm hearing, we seem like we can do this. Would that, I'm hearing that would be useful for you? Yeah. Okay. And sometimes I'll even ask them, well, how would you like to proceed? And that even, well, how do I sign up? What do I do? Well, can I meet with you? So it's asking them questions and they're actually leading themselves through the process. Other questions?
Thank you. I one last question is
Yeah.
what is your, I guess, what's your engagement rate? So if you were to have 100 leads, how many would actually answer the phone? How many would convert?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say what I've mainly measured, if I have 100 leads, I end up enrolling about 20% of them, 20 to 25%, end up becoming clients on average. And I would say there's probably another 10 to 15% that answer the phone that I actually talk to in a real conversation that for whatever reason, they just don't qualify. Either they're on work insurance, they haven't started Part B, they haven't started Medicare yet, or there's just a number of things that's like, or they use Kaiser, they're not leaving Kaiser. So they're just not qualified as a client, which is fine. I'm happy to figure that out, stop the conversation, move to the next. I'd say there's another 10%, maybe 15% that just hang up no matter what. Leave me alone, blah, blah, click. I can't even get a word in. Now, to say something, normally when that happens to me and they hang up right away, I'll actually call them back. And I don't do it to pester them, but I'll call them back because we didn't even have a conversation. And so I'll call them back. I'm like, I'm sorry, it seems like we got disconnected somehow. And many times they're like, well, I hung up on you. I understand. Is there a specific reason you hung up on me? And sometimes it leads into a conversation. Sometimes they hang up again. Sometimes I'll actually try again on a different day, different time. They might just have been in a bad mood. Normally I'll try 3 times. If it doesn't work, then I consider it dead. So that's kind of where I get to like the 20, 25% enrollments off a lead list. But there's, I'd say about another 20% of that for whatever reason I talked to, or they picked up and I couldn't close. Then there's another maybe 50, 40% that just never even answered. It's unfortunate. They get bombarded so many times. So many people have call screeners. They just don't answer. I also do leave voicemails. So I leave voice messages. When I get one, I say, hi, this is Adam. I'm calling for whatever, given the reason. I'm calling because it seems like you qualify for some additional benefits, and I just want to see if that would be useful for you. I work locally, my direct number, boom, and I give it. And I'd say about 20, 30% of that calls back. And the nice thing about it is now it's an incoming call. And if I want to do an enrollment right there, I can, because it's an inbound call.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jessica. I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. And I apologize for getting on late. I've been running appointments. You mentioned that that the leads are not, the people that you're talking are not expecting a call. These are qualified leads, right?
They are.
You have permission to contact?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah. So like if you buy a lead off a lead center, for instance, they even say it's qualified. I can't really tell you what, like, how they qualified that, but lead center qualified.
Okay.
Well, the reason I say is when I call them, I've started out with those leads and I say, well, it seems like you were looking for some more information on Medicare. No, I wasn't. No. You don't want to put yourself in that situation because now you're arguing whether they're actually looking for something or not, and you're not talking about the issue.
Okay.
So I never want to set myself up to battle, especially in the first part of the phone conversation. So that's why when I call lead center leads, I'll just say like, hey, I'm wondering if you could help me out with something. Well, what it depends. What's going on? Well, your name came across my desk because it seems like you have Medicare. Is that even accurate? So now we're not talking about whether they actually did anything, but we're talking about whether they have Medicare or not and how it's working.
So you're not even informing that, hey, this was sent in to me. Oh, I like that.
Not if it's internet leads. If it's an actual mailer where I physically have the card, then yes. I'll call up and I'll say, "Hey, I received this back in the mail and it seems like you're looking for some more information." Or I'll even say, "It seems like you were curious about Medicare. I'm wondering, have you found what you're looking for?" And again, that just leads into the conversation at that point. Sometimes they're like, "I didn't send anything back." Well, I'm looking at, and I'll say their address. I'll be like, "Well, I'm looking at George Holloway at," and I'll list their address. Is that you? Is that accurate? I mean, I see somebody filled this out. Maybe it was somebody in your household. And then again, it's like I lead into, well, do you have Medicare, George? And so I try and get it off of focusing on whether they actually did anything and just have the conversation.
And was that a script you were reading from earlier? You said depend on the answer.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
So I'm driving. I apologize. I'm going through a bad area. Do you have a script that you were reading from once before?
I do. I have the 3 openers depending on the type of leads. A carrier lead, I have an opener for. A cold call that isn't expecting it, I have an opener for. And the mailer that turns something into me, I have the opener for. And
is that something we could get a copy of?
Yeah, I think maybe Diane, you could tell me where to email it. I could email it out to people. The 3 openers.
Yeah. We'll share that to you guys.
Yeah. Michael, I see your hands up.
Yeah. So, thank you for being on. You've been very informative. You know, I do have the Jeremy Minor Book of Black questions that he puts out, and I'm not paid for anything from him yet. So you would recommend getting started with him, and he's helped you out quite a bit. It sounds like, and it looks like you've captured the tonality that he talks about so much, and being so nonchalant. So that's good. You would highly recommend it, I would guess.
Yeah, and I'm not here to necessarily plug. I think Jeremy Minor is amazing with his stuff on YouTube, with his Instagram, all which is free. If you want to purchase the course or do it, I would say look into it, see if it works for you, see where you are. For me, I felt like I plateaued, meaning I wasn't learning or growing with all the resources I already had around me. I'd maxed those out. So that's why I went ahead and did it, because I'm looking for the way to kind of get to the next level. I don't know where you are in your process. If you feel like you still have people around you or things around you to still max out, I would honestly probably do that first, watching his free stuff he already puts out online. But I do think if you kind of hit that wall, then yeah, his course can be good. And there's different levels of it. You can just do the flat out at your pace digital course. They have add-ons, which obviously cost extra, where they have coaching sessions you do over Zoom and script crafting to the full-on in-person events. So it's really just kind of up to you and what you feel like you need.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Adam,
Yeah.
are you able to go to YouTube to see some of the scripts that he uses as well?
I believe so. I don't know if like the full scripts are on there, but you'll hear him with openers and he has a YouTube channel and there's a lot of good stuff on that channel.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
No questions. Hi, this is Angelica. No questions. I just want to make a comment. We are all here. We are sales professionals, but just by listening to the tone of your voice, the way you explain different, openings to your call and the different questions. And these questions are open for the prospects to give an answer. I really want to congratulate you because talking to you doesn't feel like I'm talking to a salesperson. I feel that I'm speaking with with somebody that serves, that gives a service. And at the end of the day, I think it's all about, giving a service to somebody that eventually, obviously, we know that we're gonna get a compensation. But I think that's the key of being in this industry, serving Medicare recipients, that the call doesn't sound, like we want to take advantage or we want to really sell a product without doing a really good needs analysis. So I just want to congratulate you for doing that. Like I said, just by listening to your voice, I was like, it doesn't matter what you were going to offer to me, I was going to be open to have a conversation with you. And you're teaching me something new, different, and I'm gonna apply it. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Any other questions? I'm almost out on time here. I think I've covered a good chunk of it, and I'm happy if people want to reach out to me individually or Diane or however.
I just have a quick question, but before I ask, I do want to say thank you, like everyone else. This has been extremely helpful. How often do you get calls from your customers with customer issues that customer service can't resolve or they need you to intervene?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, as I mentioned, I have about 1,100 clients, and I'd say I probably get on average of like maybe 2 to 3 calls a day. Not like issues that blew up that are major issues, but sometimes they'll have questions, providers, or questions about certain benefits or something. I do have a full-time administrative assistant that actually will answer the calls. And I mean, like now, some of the calls coming in is my grocery card isn't working or my over-the-counter card can't work. And she's very well versed in problem solving that and figuring that out. And so I think like you reach a certain mass where you will get questions coming in. And personally speaking, like I want to take a vacation with my family or have some downtime, and I want to make sure my clients are served. So that's why I've hired an administrative assistant that is kind of the first line of phones. And then anything that she can't answer, she funnels up to me. Having said that, I still personally take a lot of phone calls and reach out and meet with clients or talk to them because I don't want them to feel like I dropped off or I'm not having that personal touch with them. So it is, I mean, the customer service piece is a significant part of this that we also want to make sure that we're doing. Does that answer your question?
100%. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Okay, awesome. Diane, you want to take it away? And I wish everybody a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Adam. That was awesome.
Thank you.
All right. How are we feeling?
That was really good.
Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate that. And I think we're about ready to get my friend Linda in. Let me make sure she's in, driving around. There she is. All right, Linda, take it away. We can't hear you, Linda. Hang on. Let me unmute you. Unmute.
There. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
All right. So hi, my name is Linda Nelson, and I'm going to give a little bit of background context of kind of how I got to health insurance because it definitely impacts my perspective around the way I handle kind of grassroots education. So I was in nonprofit healthcare for about 30 years before I started to do insurance. And I started out, I was actually a receptionist at a clinic. I was a health educator. I did a lot of public health education, HIV, family planning, all sorts of good things. And then I was actually executive director of nonprofits that were working on creating access to healthcare for low-income, uninsured people. So I've done a lot of grassroots work in my career. And I think that events are, I think, can be super fun, and they can be kind of challenging. I think there are a few different, kind of steps to consider in creating an event. I mean, the first thing is, where are you going to be creating an event, or what kind of an event? The kinds of events that I like the best and that I'm going to talk about are events that you do in partnership with a community-based organization. So, for instance, if there's a senior center, or there's Meals on Wheels, or there's an assisted living facility, or an affordable housing complex. So there's a place where potential clients are kind of getting together of their own free will. It's way easier to do events for people kind of at where it's easy for them to access. If you're asking people to get into transportation and to go someplace, it's much harder to get people to those kinds of events. So for me, it'd be, okay, I have a relationship with a resident services person for an affordable housing complex. And so I say, okay, so like, what are you guys currently doing? Most of those places have certain activities. Well, we play bingo, or we do this, or we do that other. And so so then it's kind of like, well, so one is creating the relationship with the organization. Then it's determining what's the best kind of event. So one thing is you can just piggyback on what they're already doing. So for instance, they may do bingo, like I just said. So you could say, well, hey, let me bring some prizes. Let me bring some goodie bags. And then the bingo winners, instead of, just feeling good about themselves, actually get some sort of a present or prize incentive. So that is something that I often do. Then you might want to look at doing something a little more out of the box. So events we have done, we've had music. We've had live music for people to come and listen to. A lot of times with events, you're going to determine, what kind of event is this. We talk about there's purely educational events or sales events. Used to be, I did a lot of educational events, but now I really do treat events more as sales events, which means I can be more specific about product information. But regardless, whatever kind of education I do, I try to weave it in through the event. So we did bingo a few weeks ago, and we'd, play 5 or 10 bingo numbers, and then be like, okay, let's now stop and talk about, I had like 5 key questions. So we'd stop and talk about a question for a little bit, and then we go back and play bingo again. So it's really important, I think, in any kind of group setting like that, your ability to connect with people, help them feel comfortable, and engage. Engagement is, I think, the most important thing. So we've also done, we had fresh produce one time. There was a affordable housing complex that had a food bank, or food, it's not a food, they gave out food once a month. And so most of that was though canned and other things. And so we went and set up a little fresh produce stand. And I think we had some eggs and different things like that. So that was another thing. I think what is, again, really important is that people, number one, show up to your event. So you got to get them there. You have to get them engaged, keep them interested, hopefully provide some level of value in terms of education or something like that. And then, of course, it's establishing that relationship for either, that day after the event, or in the future for you to go back and really kind of dig in with folks, understand what their needs are, and be an advocate for them. I tell people that I'm a healthcare advocate, cleverly disguised as a health insurance agent. So that's just kind of a quick overview of some examples of events. I don't know, Diane, if you wanted me to go into more detail, or if folks have questions. I have a lot to say, but I want to make sure I'm saying what's most of interest to you guys.
We can open it up for questions if people have questions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's just a high level overview. I think bigger events are harder. Again, if you're having to try to get people to go someplace. And keep in mind also, I'm focusing on the low income population, which, you know, if you're not working with low income population, you might be able to do other kinds of events where people are willing to travel too. But yeah, if people have questions, just wanted to provide an example of how I do events, and you know, everything's about relationship building and maintenance.
How do you start those relationships? How do you develop them to allow, you know, have them allow you to go in and set up a table or set up, you know, or
That is a great question, and I do think it is some of the most challenging, and it's also, if you are persistent, can really, I mean, they can be easier than you think. What I have found, particularly with affordable housing places, is they have needs, right? They've got staff there, and they are, you know, they're hired and they're supposed to provide all these events and do all these things. They don't have the capacity, right? So if basically we can come in and say, hey, how can I help you, right? Help, you know, take care of your residents or provide programming or whatever. So often it's about identifying what their need might be. So you can cold call. I mean, I think it's always better to create new relationships through relationships. So, you know, does anyone know anyone in a particular facility? Or a lot of times for us, we are doing lead calls, and one of the people we call lives in an apartment complex that we've never been to before. So when we're going to visit them, it's just stop by the office, check in with the manager. I've found that even though when organizations eventually they're like, yeah, we want to do this, and they get it done, they're really grateful and it's a great resource to them. Sometimes it can be hard at the beginning because they have so many competing demands on their time, right? And so it's like, yeah, it might save me time in the future, or it might be good for my clients, but I'm just trying to get through the day. So I think that it's just really about getting to know people, understanding what their pain points are, what's the value that you have to offer them. And most people who are working with groups, you know, they appreciate somebody to come in and host a bingo game or game day, or, you know, whatever, raffles. People like prizes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Pamela. I've been asked to set up a table at a health fair. It's for the county.
Yeah.
And so what would you do? Really it starts at 10 a.m. It's over 4 p.m. And what would you have at the table, and how would you handle the event?
Excellent. So that's a different kind of event. Like I said at the beginning, there are different kinds. So this kind of health fair tabling event, pros and cons. I'll tell you what I think is the best thing about tabling at a health event is partnering or meeting the other organizations that are at the table, because a lot of times you're serving the same population, or you know what I mean. So I just want to say that out front. When it comes to the table itself, things you'd put out, obviously swag giveaways are really good. I'll also tell you, I've learned the hard way a few times that, you know, sometimes people are kind of shy and they're like, can I have one of these? Can I have that? And then other times you got people that come through and wipe you out of everything you have. So I really like the prize wheel. And so you basically, it's one of those spinny things, and all the different swag items you have, you write down, and then a person comes and they spin the wheel, and whatever they land on, you know, that's the prize they get. Or you could have a free space or whatever. So number one, when you're at a tabling event, you have to draw people's attention, right? And then again, when you get people there, how are you engaging them? So from an insurance perspective, I always do asking questions, you know, what kind of insurance do you have? You know, how's that going? And if they say, you know, United Healthcare, I say, oh, is that Medicare, or is it group insurance? Or because depending on the context, you don't necessarily know who's there. So just kind of talking to people and asking them what their situation is. And that's the way to engage folks. So you got to attract them to come talk to you, and then engage with them, which again, ultimately leads to, you know, is that contact card gets filled out, or they take a card, or however it is. It's always best if you have contact cards and they say it's okay to call me. That's way better than giving your card out, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I think events at health fairs can be really useful. Like I say, I think the longest, the kind of the best return on value for that is the relationship with the other organizations that are at the health fair, because I think a lot of times you can find opportunities for synergies and things.
Okay, and in terms of information with the different types of carriers, so would you do like specific carriers, or how because we get so many brochures from all the carriers. So that was one question I had about what should I put on the table,
Right. So, I mean, I think it's good to have something from, and everything that's available. So whatever you can represent, put it on the table. What I tend to do in my own mind, I have this idea of, like I basically start with where you get your health care, right? And depending on what the answer is to that, I can eliminate half of my Medicare Advantage plans, right? So network is the first thing. So just by, where do you get your health care? Then, what's your premium? How do you feel about the benefits? What kind of so as you're going through and you're getting the answers to those, then usually I like to say, okay, so based on our conversation, there are 2 different plans here that I think would be worthwhile for you to look at. I think it's good to give people at least one option, but we also don't want to give people too many options. And then if they have other questions, you could bring in other plans depending, if that's appropriate or not. So kind of like have stuff available, and then based on your engagement, figure out what's the best 2, maybe 3 plans, that you would want to present them with. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Hi,
Dianne?
this is Jessica.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question. You said you deal mainly with low income, so that's the Medicare, Medicaid. Do you find that you have quite a bit of a turnover for people dropping plans or changing plans?
Not as much.
Great. Okay. What do you do for that? Because sometimes I have they'll change for $5.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I'd say the first thing there is, again, kind of, one of the things, and I tell all my clients, I am your advocate, right? And if anybody else comes to you, or you see a commercial, or somebody calls you, if they have anything interesting to say, you just say, I'll take a note of that and I'll talk to my Medicare lady. So I think then, because a lot of times when people are doing that willy-nilly switching, is because they don't understand the consequences of it, right? We have a lot of people who switch plans for food cards to find out then they can't go to the same doctors anymore.
Right,
so,
right.
So I think that what I tend to do is tell them, bring it to me. If you hear something that you think is better, bring it to me and I'll be able to help you with it. And then in the process of that, then you can educate and be able to say, so, okay, you could do that, but then, you'd lose your primary care. We'd have to get new primary care. And I don't know about your market, but in our market, it takes 5 to 6 months to get into a new primary care provider. So those are the kind of conversations you can have with people.
Oh, no, in my market, they can get it the next month.
Okay, well then so that's not as big of a barrier.
Yeah,
I want to be where you are.
I'm in Mississippi.
So
yeah, they can change if they do it early enough. They can change next week.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I think that at some point there also, and again, I don't know what your market is like, but there aren't that many options for people to switch from. What I tend to find is that there's always like your number 1 and your number 2, and people might want to play around with those 2. But the other thing is, a lot of times people are like, well, I want both of those plans. It's like, well, you can't do that. So there's a lot of education to be done.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. I think there was something in the chat, but I can't read it. So if someone can tell me questions that are in there.
Sure. It was my question. It said, what are your favorite prizes and swag to give out? Is it carrier swag, snacks, or something else?
Yeah, so I tend to do carrier swag personally. That's my favorite, partly because I get it for free. And then there's some pretty cool things. Again, that depends on your relationship with carriers. So I am not big on the snacks. Some people do. I don't think there's really any right or wrong, right? I mean, I think people like stuff. But what I find is that the carrier swag tends to be a little more creative and flashy, and people are drawn to that. A lot of times I think, I'm not sure that they'll ever use it, but they sure wanted it. So some of the carrier stuff, and again, I'm sure it depends, but some of the places we work with, obviously there's pens always, but one carrier has like a little like sticky note, little booklet of different size sticky notes. There's jar openers. I think the little circle fans have been a big deal lately. You can never go wrong with hand sanitizer, sunscreen. Flashlights are another big one that people really like those. So those are just some examples of the kind of the things that tend to go fast.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Stuff.
Hey, hi, Tony.
Hey. What an incredible meeting. You did a great job, young lady. Can y'all give her a hand?
Thank you.
Awesome. I said young lady. Remember that.
Okay. Have you had your way with me? Am I good to go?
Yeah. You're good to go. You're good to go.
Okay. Thank you so
Good
much.
stuff. Thank you so
Okay.
much. You've been a blessing.
All right,
Thank
you
you so
take
much.
care.
Hey, you do an incredible job. I really believe I can see why so many people want to do business with you. And I think you guys can see it's more than just the technology, the tools, the tips. It's the kind of person you are. The biggest challenge I see in this business is people think it's some kind of magic trick. No, you got to be a good person. You got to be a likable person. The people are buying you. All that other stuff just adds value. But if they don't like you, it doesn't matter what you say or how many swag gifts and all the stuff that you say you're going to do for them. They got to like and appreciate you. So, young lady, I can see why you do well because you're very likable. I can see those seniors wanting to do business with you. So, thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you. All right. Take
You're a
care.
blessing. God bless. Thank you. What's up, Diane?
What's up, Tony? I think I saw you earlier.
Yeah, I'm hanging in your office.
You're hanging in my office. All right. So
Yeah.
how is it going so far? So we've got another one of my other agent coming in a bit. So Linda got done way too quickly, but any questions while we're waiting for Jessica so far? Anything? Anybody wants to share what you're going to implement, like 2 to 3 action plan that you learned from our time together? Anybody bold enough, be accountable enough to share?
Diane,
Yes,
there was a question for you earlier. Sorry, there was a question for you earlier that I think it was Michael White or somebody White asked about something 100. He just wanted you to go into a little more detail about that.
That was
sure.
John White. John White asked that question.
Yes.
That was me, and I'm still here. I was trying to
Hey, John.
get some more details as a new agent
Yes.
to explain the Dream 100, because I do think that would be what you just described for me is that is something I can do and be accountable to do.
100%. John White, here's how you do it. Think about, so if you're in Medicare, all of you are in Medicare, right? Let's just do an example on Medicare. So if your target audience is Medicare, people with Medicare, you want to go after the people that they trust. Who do they trust? Their primary care clinics, their specialists, their dentists, their vision clinics, gym. A lot of seniors goes to the gym these days, right? Naturopathic, chiropractic. So who? Who are the people that they trust? Their circle of influence. Their pharmacists, right? So some of my agents, they're at a pharmacy, Obviously, you need to be 20 feet. Remember that rule, 20 feet. A lot of times we bring like a measuring tape. Are we 20 feet out? Some of my agents, a lot of them every week, we're at a primary care clinic, 20 feet, right? Because for me, if you focus on all your energy and your time going after providers, each clinic will have hundreds, if not thousands, of people that they serve, right? So think about once you're able to connect with a clinic, with a provider's office, guess what? They're going to be sending you people anytime that they have problems with someone's insurance, anytime that someone's turning 65. We go to providers' offices and say, hey, you know, if someone turns 65, how are you making sure that they're staying in your clinic? Would it be helpful for me to help your clients to make sure that they stay in your clinic when they turn 65? Because their insurance is going to change. Is someone helping your patients transition them from either ACA or group insurance to Medicare? So that's who, providers. Who are the people that they trust? If they're homeless, obviously, or if they're on rehab and things like that, we work with a few rehab here in Oregon as well. So go to those places. Like, hey, if someone got out of prison, right? We just got one that we connected with because, you know, some people get in jail and they get out and
Right.
they need to have insurance, right? Because once they get out of jail, if they're on disability, they need to get back to Medicare, and we do help them get their Medicare back. Now, that's who are the people that they trust, that they go to when they're sick, that they receive services from. That's who. The other one is where do they hang out? Okay, so like my agency, like one of the biggest low-income housing, which has about 160 low-income housing in Portland Metro, Vancouver, around this area. We are their main agency that helps all the low-income agency. A lot of their apartment packet, you know how when someone rents, there's a packet that they give the residents. We have a flyer in there. They put the flyer in there and they stick it in there, right? So in a low-income housing, you can have hundreds, again, if not thousands of people. So if you're going to a low-income housing, let's say you had a lead card, you had a referral, you be very, very sensitive where you're going. I hope that before you start your day, the night before, you already know where you're going. You're Googling, okay, wow, this place is a low-income housing. I'm gonna spend at least 30 minutes to an hour to talk to the manager, right? If you signed up, I hope you sign up someone in that building, you go to that appointment, you went and presented, you help the person whether they change their plan or not, you serve. Your aim every time you're in front of a person is to be referable. If you're going in there just for the sale, don't do that. Stop doing that. You go there to serve first and be referable. And what I mean by that, don't go for the sale, but give it your best shot to serve someone, whether you help them figure out their bills for some reason. If they're getting billed, spend the time to help them. You're there already. Okay. Not everything that we do here, we get paid for. But if you do this right, if you're trying to serve, so hopefully you help them in some capacity. And then what I usually train my agents with is my visit helpful to you? Yes. What I want them to identify, how was I helpful to you? I know it's kind of dumb, right? But hear me out. Oh my God, thank you so much for setting up that appointment with my clinic. And thank you so much for getting me amazing benefits. I want them to list at least 3 that impacted their life that I did, whether I got paid or not, right? So when you're doing great things at all times, that person may not reciprocate. You might not get back the reward, but God, the universe, if that's what you believe in, the karma will come back to you in some capacity. So then what I do, oh, amazing. My pleasure to meet with you. Thank you for allowing me to serve you. Now, does anybody in this building that come and educate people, you think it'll be helpful for me to come here maybe once a month to help folks with any of their insurance issues or any resources that people might need here? I asked the question. Oh my God, yes. Okay, hey, who's the apartment manager downstairs? Or is there any activity person in this building? There always is a manager, maybe not an activity person, but most low-income housing, they're required to have an activity person in the building. That is, I think it's required in Oregon. So then I said, would you mind introducing me to your manager and tell the manager what I did for you? Because I want to do the same thing to your friends and to the people that lives in this building. We go down and then make the person introduce me to the apartment manager. Hey, the same script. Does anybody come and service your residents about the changes of Medicare, health insurance, blah, blah? No? Okay. You know what? This is what I do to some other low-income housing. I either do activity, I can do bingo, I can do education, I can educate all the changes, any subsidies that people can qualify for. And then in most cases, nobody will say no to me. Like, it's very rare that people will say no, unless the building is already taken by another agent, unless someone's already servicing that low-income housing. So that's where low-income housing is one. Gym is another one, right? You go to the gym, whether that's 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, or I like local gyms, the small ones that are on the list under Silver Sneakers or Optum or any of those gym. And I do the same thing, right? How many seniors shows up here and they want to be a member? How many of them cannot afford to be a member? Or do you realize you're part of the Silver Sneakers program? Can I do an education here? When do most seniors come to this gym? Can I do some education about Medicare, about health insurance? So that's where. So you got to figure out the who and where. Dream 100 is all about the circle of influence. Where do people hang out if you want to attack the low income? Food banks. Where are all the food banks? You go to the food bank place and you say, hey, this is amazing. Do you realize that for most folks that are low income and if they're on Medicare, there is a food card available to them? Are you aware of that? And I always make sure I have my flyer. Would you mind if I set up a table? What day do you usually, have people come and pick up food? Can I have a table and just have informational booth just to let people know about these programs? Because a lot of people, they don't realize that they can get a food card through their Medicare if they're low income, right? Homeless places, like homeless shelters, would be a good one to go to and hang out as well. So the who and the where, I will send the list of all the places that we attack as an agency that we really spend our time with. But that is, I believe, the fastest to grow your business, because once you build a close relationships with a lot of these places, they will just refer you business every day, every week, right? And once you do all this work, at some point, either the state or someone from the county, like we have BAA agreements with Multnomah County clinics, Central City Concern clinics, like huge clinics in Portland Metro that nobody has, only my agency have. And we have the grant from the state of Oregon. They just actually renewed my grant this week. And it's my 10 years receiving that. So we gotta change our mindset. I know you need to make money. I fully understand that, but change that mindset of going in there first to serve and to be referable, to do an amazing job, whether you gotta sell or not. At all times, you're serving. Because I promise you this, you will get the money more than money than you need if you operate this way. And it's a change. You have to change. Remember that shell, right? You have to break that shell. You have to change. And that's part of that. And that is the dream, the process of changing, of becoming a person of success. So don't go for the sale, be referable. So does that make sense for Dream 100? That is my favorite strategy among.
Dianne, I have to say, I love the way you think. And when I first came into the industry, I've always been a cook or in a restaurant or a server, and life changed and I had to take a new direction. And I wouldn't say I have the highest count of clients, but this year, like I'll be 2 years old at the end of June, and I got 30 referrals from current clients.
30?
Yes.
Wonderful.
That just, they tell them like you don't want to mess with anyone else but her. So I love the way that you have your agents think. I guess I naturally think like that 'cause my grandma raised me, so she was always like, your name is all you have and you have to build on that.
Yes.
So I just think you're great though, but it's really nice to hear from other agents to say stick it out because it does get easier.
Absolutely. It does get easier. The muscle is getting built and the nature, your entire nature is changing, right?
Yeah.
You need to allow that pain, man. Pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Such, like diamonds, right? You're a diamond, right? You're being really like crafted to this perfection. And people that don't allow that retreat, they just want to be comfortable. And they think
I
that
say
life.
if you're uncomfortable, you're growing.
Absolutely. That's why I do hard things. Do
Yes.
hard things for relief. And that will just make you better and better. So I do have, Jessica, are you driving? It's the last day of the month, so everyone's hustling in my team.
I'm parking. I'm
Okay,
between
yeah,
appointments, so
okay.
I am parking. I was just
All right,
waiting.
I want to make sure, bunch of my agents now have a Tesla. We are a Tesla and Apple type of agency. That is one of the things that I love, and my agents they're loving it. I think they listen to me sometimes, but so Jessica, we've worked together for a long time. She's one of my, I think you're the second or third agents. Again, I've never really wanted to build an agency. All the agents that I have, they all just came to me. They like what we do, the mission, the core values at Helplines in Oregon. And Jessica is one of the OGs. We call them originals. And it's what really helped Helplines in Oregon be more successful because of people like Jessica, very committed on the things that we do, no matter how hard it is, right? It's again going through the process and really choosing to want to do it and to grow. So she's just gonna share real quick about you do everything. You do events, you do kiosks, you do mailer. She does everything.
Yes.
But she's going to share in particular about kiosk and how to run a successful kiosk. So
Yes.
take it away, Jess.
Okay. So thank you, Dianne. And like Dianne said, we work on having multiple strategies. And one of the strategies that I've really been working with is doing kiosks. So I don't know if you guys are too familiar with kiosks or how to conduct kiosks. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I have been, successful in kiosks. I started working with kiosks because we were doing events. We were already out in the community. So kiosks are a little bit different because these right here are usually booths that are set up strategically, right? It's either you or the carrier that is going to place a booth in a high trafficked area. So you usually find them in grocery stores, in the malls. I've had some kiosks in, oh, look, I have client calling.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. And then I usually will also have them in health clinics. Let me disconnect my Bluetooth. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Sorry about that. So for these sales events, I've had a couple even in health clinics that have been very, very successful. And it usually will depend. Most of the time I will partner with carriers. So they are carrier specific. These are sales events as well. So these are very informal. These are simple and informal, which is why I like them, because it kind of takes the stress off of us reaching out to leads and giving them the opportunity to come up to us to ask questions, right? And so we do this in a couple of ways. So if you have a place that you have in mind that you feel is a very popular place, you can send out postcards to people in those surrounding areas once you've already established a location or a network with a clinic, or even a resource center or a mall even. Right now I'm doing a kiosk in a CVS location, right, for a specific carrier. And we'll have people walking in and they are so happy with their plan. And when they see the brand for that plan, because they're there using their OTC benefits, I use that opportunity, to let them know, hey, we're here as well for a resource. So if you have any questions about your plan, it's always about being a resource, because that will also help them tell their friends or their neighbors where they can go to get that help as well, because they're so happy with their plan. So even if I am not their specific agent or the agent that helped them, like if they have questions, I'm there to help them. I'm there as a resource as well. And then grocery stores as well. Those can be good areas, as well as shopping malls. And like I said, it's either created already. So if you guys have some good relationships with some specific carriers, they would be a good resource, or your higher up. So Dianne is usually a good resource for us as well. She'll have good ideas or places if we need help setting up. She can help us with that as well. But even you can directly go and let them know what you can provide for their resource. And then some of the things that I have learned in doing kiosk is that there is ways to be successful in a kiosk and ways not to be successful, right? One of the ways that I found was networking. When you go to these places, like talk to the cashiers, talk to the people that are already working there with their community or with their members there. If you are like at a grocery store, CVS location that has a pharmacy, you go and you talk to the pharmacies, give them your card and information, let them know what day that you're there so that they can refer people, so that need help throughout the week, or let them know, even if you're not specifically there at the kiosk, they can give them your information, let them know what day you're there. And it also helps as a really big referral source as well. One thing that we have been doing is putting up banners in some of the places that we are. So it's like free advertising while you're not even there, giving out your information, letting them know who you are. And they can call as well. So anywhere that you have a kiosk, normally it's a really good idea to set up a banner as well, or have a location or booth that has your information all throughout the week. And then one of the reasons that you would do a kiosk is this is usually a very low cost strategy, right? This is a low cost strategy. It does require time and commitment, because once you've established a presence, that is when your referrals will start coming in. You'll start getting more enrollments at these events. And then another thing that I like to really go into is like what not to do at a kiosk. And that would be, it's not a time to do administrative work or take calls. You want to be as present as you can so that you are successful, because you're not just there to spend your time. You want to use as much of this time as you can in creating those relationships. Even if there's not people there, use this time to talk to the pharmacy, to build those relationships. It's very hard and very tempting, to take those calls and use it. But if you think about it, if you were to see someone at a booth, who would you most likely walk up to? You would most likely walk up to the person that's looking straight at you when you walk through the door, rather than the person looking down at their computer, just doing their work at that time. So these are just some of the things that to keep in mind whenever you guys are doing kiosks, or if you guys are interested in doing kiosks. Do you have any questions? Or one thing that I also found is that it really does help in building a pipeline all year long. So, sometimes when you want to be successful in having more enrollments throughout the year, you want to have multiple pipelines that lead to those enrollments. And I feel like kiosks is one of those where, you get a consistent amount of people throughout the year that are needing help, or you can't necessarily help at that time. You later come out and, they eventually need your assistance during the annual enrollment period, or they're looking for additional help, and you're the person that they think of because, you've had that commitment and that consistent presence at those kiosks. Did you want to add anything else, Dianne?
No, let's open it up for questions.
I have a quick question. Do you have any tips on getting the awkwardness out of being at the kiosk? Like to make it less awkward if you're not used, like if you're brand new on trying to start one.
Yeah, I mean, what I have done also is like I bring swag, right? Swag really helps in bringing them in, and then, just start with being friendly. You're there, hello, good morning. Have you heard of, this company? We're here. We're just giving out information. We're trying to be a resource for you guys if you need some additional assistance. And it depends on how you present yourself. If you're presenting yourself as like a sales, you're just there to sell them rather than being a resource. I think that there is like a little bit of a difference. So I think
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
That helps me.
Yeah, like how you said being a resource. I like that thought. That's really
letting
cool.
them know that there is an expert. You are the expert, that there is somebody there that can answer their questions. You don't have to enroll them or, and that will usually help them in opening up to issues. All of a sudden they start talking to you about, their dental that wasn't covered or limited benefits and trouble with their doctor. So that opens the door to possibly being able to assist them.
Because I've tried to like make them laugh, because in my mind, if I can make someone laugh, like I'm in. But sometimes you get those little hardballs that you can't really make laugh. So
yeah,
I'm gonna try that though. That's really cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I mean, I have had, depending, like especially during open enrollment, I have had kiosks that were so busy, right? Consistently busy. And they are sales events. So you are able to enroll right on the spot. There is no 48-hour wait, depending on the location. I happened to be at a sales event for a kiosk where we enrolled like 10 people every day that we were there. And that, and not all of them are like that, but depending on the location, choosing the right place, that can make the
So
difference.
should that be a question we ask up front if we're allowed to enroll like that?
So from my understanding, all kiosks, especially if they are a carrier specific, will be a sales event.
Okay.
As usually reported as a sales
I've never done it before. That's why I asked.
Oh, yes. Yeah, normally
very
if you
brand new
find a
to this
place,
side.
yeah, if you find a place that you're interested in setting up a kiosk, you feel like it is busy enough, you want to be there as a presence, then normally you would just talk to directly to the carrier or to your higher up and, fill out the events reporting sheet.
That's really good.
So, hi Jessica. So you mentioned that you had kiosk at grocery stores and as well. So how do you go for that? Like who do you contact initially and how do you approach it?
So in the grocery stores that I have been present at, it normally is usually a store that has like an OTC benefit or a healthy food benefit attached to it. So there is already like some carrier that has some relationship with that grocery store. So like Fred Meyer's or Safeway, Rite Aid, Walgreens, those that have like the OTC network benefit. And then you just talk to normally, you can talk to store managers, but sometimes they may have had situations where they require to talk to the higher up. And so that is where you would then go to the carrier and they have those relationships already established. So that can be a big help. And then I think I saw a question pop up. Is it normally
Do you typically only
represent
one
carrier at kiosks? Yes. There are different. If you do a kiosks, I would say as an agency or as just an insurance agency, you can do multi-carrier. But if you go as a specific carrier, like let's say I set up a table as United Healthcare at a Walmart or, then I would just do a United Healthcare event on that one. And then if you find individuals that it may not be the appropriate plan, you can do like a permission to call card, or you can even do a scope of appointment and set up a follow-up appointment.
But you could only help them with that one carrier that you're representing at that time, right?
Yeah, if it's a reported sales event only for United Healthcare, then yeah. And that's just an example. It could be a different carrier, but yes.
And as a sales event, is it only one plan that you can help enroll them in, or can you show them multiple plans with that carrier?
Yeah, you can show them multiple plans with that carrier. Of course, you just need a scope of appointment, even at a sales event.
Thank you. Thank you.
But if they weren't interested in the company that you're doing for, you could on the backside say, oh, by the way, I can give you a call tomorrow. And I also am licensed through, right? And still be compliant as long as you did it on the backside of the conversation.
Yeah, you could tell them, even there, you could say, hey, I'm an independent agent. I definitely am able to assist you. So just have them fill out a permission to call card and you can definitely contact them and follow up. And that's something that's pretty common, especially at kiosks or plan specific events. Any other questions? Anything else, Diane? I'm trying to think if we missed anything or anything else that might be helpful to them.
a lot of the carriers run events, which I
Yes.
think do some of them with carriers, right?
Yeah. So we have pretty good relationship with some of the carriers, and they have their own events that they have already established. A lot of them are low income housing, and I wasn't sure if you guys already got into like just events in general. But you know, there is educational events, informal events, and normally the ones that I will stick to are informal events. Where the carrier, sometimes they've already built out a relationship and they have certain representatives. Usually every carrier has representatives that are reaching out to the community to find locations where a good event will be. So, you know, if they're low income housing, food pantries, they're already established events. So we will just fill into those events as well and help them with their enrollments for their members. So a lot of the time the carriers are already doing a lot of this work, but of course we will build our own relationships with different buildings as well and set up our own events as well.
What if we accidentally, like I've got a nonprofit and they kind of help people coming out of prison. And what a lot of people don't realize, when you come out of federal prison, the state gives you Medicaid. And so I had this one guy and he was like, "Oh, I know you don't trust me, blah, blah, blah." And I mean, he was so rude, and I ended up signing him, and he has sent me referral after referral. Are we compliant to actually go to a safe house? Like if we have permission like that, Miss Steph? Or
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if the member is calling you and telling you where to meet them to do the enrollment, yes, I wouldn't worry about it. The only time that you would have an issue is like, let's say whoever was managing that safe house said you weren't allowed to do an enrollment there, you're not allowed to come in. I will always follow, you know,
Go to the manager first, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it should be fine because you're out there, you're providing a resource, you're giving services to their members. So I don't usually have very many issues in terms of going to
I had this one
nonprofits.
guy tell me that no one would give him the time of day. And in my head, I'm thinking, so many people get released and they have nothing. They have nowhere to go. They have no one that cares. So I'm like, well, let me be that person, you know?
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed, like they're normal people. I mean, they've made terrible mistakes, but I mean, these are people coming out trying to reform their lives. So I was just wondering, because I accidentally come across this nonprofit and I keep in
Yes.
touch with them.
No, that is a good referral source for you because I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that there is a lot more of the people that feel just like him that are not getting the resources that, you know, they're entitled to or getting the help just because of, you know, maybe their
Yeah.
past or their access to care as well. And we do work a lot with lower income as well. We have a couple food pantries. We work with Union Gospel Mission, which is a homeless shelter,
I
and
just
we're
love
there. Yes, so
That's
you know
amazing.
and it helps being out there because you know we're part of the change that they need.
Yeah. They need to see that people still care, that that we're still good in this world right now, because a lot of this world is dark. So I don't even care what kind of day they are having. Like I cannot hang up with them until I make them laugh, and this is it. So, but it's helped me. Like when I make them laugh, that lets me know I'm in enough for them to care about listening. You know. So I was just wondering about that though.
Hey, Jessica, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gwen. I want to ask you, when you're at a kiosk and say you are talking to one particular person and you start to see people gather, like you see 3, 4, and 5 people gather, and you kind of talking to this person for a good little while, and you see that the other people are getting kind of antsy. So do you
Yeah.
just focus on the one that you are talking to and let those people, you miss all those people? How do you interrupt and say, excuse me, or what do you do? How do you handle that?
If I do see a lot of people, I try to keep it, very short, right? I will have them fill out the permission to call card. Definitely, if you have a lot of people that are looking for questions or help, the point then is going to be scheduling an appointment. You can even, get the scope of appointment, schedule an appointment, and then help the other individual. But, sometimes the other people are very quick. It depends. If they want to wait, and we can do an enrollment then, but usually we'll just set up a follow-up appointment if that's the case. I'll just
Okay.
schedule the appointment right then and there with the person.
Yeah, I didn't know if you would say, excuse me, let me, guys, just pick up my card or how do you just break that conversation,
Yeah, and sometimes people will see that there's a lot of people and they'll just say, hey, can I just get your card? And I'll usually will tell them, yes, here's my card, but go ahead and fill this out. This just allows me to contact you and see how we can help.
Great, great. Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Y'all sound like such a close-knit team there. Amazing. Like, I love how you think. I love how you speak. And like when you're in this industry, sometimes it is isolating because I'm in Texas. So, like we're so far apart, but it's really amazing. Just your core values is everything to me. That's how I know I'm meant to be here in this moment.
Amen.
I love that. And I applaud y'all for putting grace out there for the
Amen.
world to see again. And I just felt like I needed to say thank you because I needed this today.
Good stuff.
Y'all
Very
were
good.
amazing though.
Well,
Thank you.
I put this meeting together for that purpose. Diane and her team and many others in our extended family here at Integrity have the same beliefs, same values and understanding. And we want to be that shining light in a very challenged market, as you guys know. We don't want to be like the run-of-the-mill agents out there. They're just in it for all the wrong reasons. And we said that from day one. And this is going back many years, even before Integrity. Kathy and I were always about, we want to do what's right or we're not going to do it at all. And we're going to keep God first in our business and our lives and everything we do. And that's why we've been so blessed. You guys got to meet some amazing people and Diane's team here in Oregon. And she's just following the same template. And I mean, you guys have heard today, many stuff, we've been talking and teaching for many years, but sometimes it's just having eggs a different way, still eggs, but having a different way, different flavor, different sauce. And this young lady put in a definite nice spin on what she's doing. So we're blessed to be all part of the same family and same team. And ultimately, our seniors, our communities, whether you're in Texas, or you're in Alabama or in Oregon, they're the sole, I know they're beneficiaries, but they're the sole beneficiary of the blessings and service we provide. We're just like social workers, many of us are ministers or ministry in this business. And that's why it's such a special calling to be an agent of change, an agent of care, an agent of love. So great job today. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It was
Great
awesome.
job.
Yeah.
All right, I want to finish off. I think we have a few more minutes. Let's maximize our time. Do you guys see the little kids on the picture? Let's see here.
Yes.
Right. So I am a board of Apple of His Eye charity for many, many years. And you talk about, a lot of people are proud of the things they've accomplished, right? Because again, we operate in abundance mentality. I think there's so much that we need to be thankful for. And I'm not gonna show you, you will never probably see me in a big house, but these kids right here, I'll give to The three of my boys, they sponsor, each of them has a kid that they sponsor. Each of them give their money to feed these kids and to make them feel loved and fed and show the love of God on them. These kids are orphans in India. And there's a lot of, my friend just went there and spent the last 3 weeks. And she was texting every day, sharing all these pictures like, Dianne, these are the stuff that we're doing with these kids. This is where your money is going to. I just gave $20,000 to this charity just because I can, right? Just because there's a lot of people that needs our help. And if you think about how much power, how much resources that we have in this country as people, if each one of us will just contribute how much ever amount of money that we can give, the world is much better place. So it's good to desire the stuff for your family and for yourself, all the good stuff, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But let's not forget, there's a lot of very unfortunate kids that needs our help, that are voiceless, that are helpless, that could really use your help. And I hope that I have, again, 20 organizations that I give to every single month. Because if your life ends today, how is that going to look like? How many people have you impacted? The short stint that we have in this earth, what have you done with the relationships that you have, with the resources that you have? Because my mom, the two most important things in his life was to serve others and to love God. That's it. To sum up our life in this earth, we have one purpose, two purposes, to love God and to serve others. And that's the business of insurance presents to each one of us with all the information and the good stuff that we all learned today. I've learned a lot today too. I was utterly super excited on a lot of things that I've learned today from my team even. What are you going to do about it? Ask yourselves, what are you going to do about it? Because if those kids have the opportunity in insurance that we all have, I think they're going to have a good life and they'll be able to make a difference in this world, right? So a lot of the big work that we do there at Apple Levis Eye Charity is we not only that we feed them, we have a school for them to grow up, to be able to be entrepreneur. When they become older, they're able to get a job so that way they can help others. And then there's that effect of helping one person and then it'll help more people and more people and more people. I'm doing the best I can with all the resources that God has given me that I've earned as well, based on working very, very hard, aiming to achieve more and do more and be more to people around me, to integrity. I'm just utterly blessed. Not sure what you guys heard about integrity, but here's what I can tell you. I'm honored and privileged to be inside, being able to chat, text with a lot of the executive suite within the integrity. One thing I could tell you, the biggest single honor of my life is becoming an integrity partner. You know why? Because our CEO, Brian Adams, is a man of God. He believes so much in serving. He believes so much on not the money as the main motivation, but serving others. Not think about himself, not thinking about, it's easy to just shortcut and just talk about all the money we could make. But the priority of integrity is having the integrity to bless others with what we have. He's put together the best of the best in the industry. And I have yet to honestly meet a jerk integrity partner. Have you met one, Tony? I have not met one yet. Obviously, we're all humans and we have faults too. But majority, if not all of the integrity partners that I have met so far, I have come across with. Like Janie just spent a whole day with our agency. That's a chief legal officer, very well accomplished lady. She came and spent time with our agency last week. She's like, I just want to know, you're just, the things that you guys are doing is just mind blowing. Like, she's like, I didn't even know we did this, that we're servicing, we're being a resource to the community. Like the least of these, the homeless folks. Now we can easily judge the homeless people, but I've been in those places. A lot of these guys, they did not want to be a homeless. They didn't choose to be homeless. It's just one thing that happened in their life. Either they divorced, they got fired, or just some stupid mistake, and they are where they're at. But you as insurance agents, you can dramatically change someone's world. We don't need to change the whole world. Within our backyard, we have enough work. So ask yourself at the end of your time, and I could be gone tomorrow, or live until I'm 100. I pray to God, He'll give me more years. At the end of the day, what are we doing with what we have? With the people around us and with the information that you got today? What are you going to do about it? I pray so much that you guys will become more, will do more, and will serve more people, one person at a time. Aim to be referable, aim to serve first. Because each one of you has the capability to help thousands and thousands of people. There's no doubt. Nobody and nothing will stop you. I've been on disability, I've been on rear accidents, I've gone through it all. And I can tell you this, nobody can stop you. You are meant to live a big life.
Amen. I like that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Amen.
Way to blow it out the water. Great job, Diane.
Thank you, guys.
I felt her, and that
Thank you so much.
It's an honor to serve you today. God bless you. I pray that God will bless your family, you as people, that you will be more, that everything that you do will be blessed, will be magnified, will make a big impact in this world, in your community, in your business. You're going to help thousands and thousands of people. Money will no longer be a problem in your family. You will be the first millionaire, billionaire, gazillionaire in your life, in your family, in your line, in your community. And may you guys be blessed, and you guys take care. You guys know my social media handle if you want to follow me. I don't do much social media just because I just choose not to. Tony, on the other hand, he's amazing at that. So thank you. It's an honor, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This was amazing. It really was.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate this.
Certainly appreciate your time.
Y'all have a blessed night.
Let's go.
Let's go.